Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic part 1. Now let's start the fanfic. That gust of wind, that definitely wasn't natural. It has to be another enemy team, just great. Thought Satsuki Uchiha as she hid under some bushes after ducking under them when a powerful blast of wind hit her and her teammates, Naruto Uzumaki and Sakura Haruno. They haven't even been in the forest of death for even half a day and already they've been ambushed by an AIM ninja that disguised himself as Naruto. With Satsuki being able to see it wasn't the real Naruto given he had a scratch on his cheek from the second exam proctor, Anko Mitarashi. Not to mention their holster was on their left leg rather than their right, making it easy to see it wasn't the real Naruto. Thankfully, the AIM ninja hadn't been difficult to handle before they found the real Naruto where the AIM ninja left him tied up before freeing him. With this leading to them making a password only they knew, ensuring that if they get separated they'll be able to know if someone's a fake. With Satsuki having also purposefully made the password too long to remember. Knowing Sakura would be able to memorize it without any trouble while Naruto wouldn't be able to, which is why the Uchiha chose the password. Given if Naruto was able to recall the entire password, then they'd know it's a fake. Unfortunately, before they could move to begin looking for other teams to get an Earth Scroll they were hit by a powerful gust of wind, blowing them all away. With Satsuki having ducked under some bushes once the wind stopped, not wanting to stay in the open and attacked. At this rate we'll be lucky to last a day in here. Satsuki thought, knowing if they kept getting attacked they'll never get another scroll. Before the Ravenet sensed someone behind her, making her quickly jump up and turn around, ready for a fight from whoever attacked them. Only to see it was Sakura, though she didn't drop her guard in case it wasn't the real Sakura. Satsuki. What was that? Said Sakura, running up to her teammate, relieved to see she's alright, but stopped when Satsuki raised a kunai. Don't move. First answer the questions, when does a ninja strike? Satsuki demanded, refusing to take any chances. Oh, right. A ninja waits until the time is right, when the enemy sleeps and drops his guard, when his weapons lie forgotten in the stillness of the night, that is the moment for a ninja to strike. Sakura replied, making Satsuki relax upon seeing it is Sakura. Good. That just leaves Naruto. Stated Satsuki before she tensed again when she heard footsteps running towards them. Hey, Satsuki, Sakura, are you guys okay? Naruto said running through the trees towards the girls. Don't come any closer, said Sakura, knowing they needed to make sure it's really Naruto. Huh, said Naruto, confused at why she said that. What's the password? Sakura asked with realization hitting the whiskered blonde. Oh right. Sure, no problem. Okay. A ninja waits until the time is right, when the enemy sleeps and drops his guard, when his weapons lie forgotten in the stillness of the night, that is the moment for a ninja to strike. Naruto said, much to Sakura's relief that it was Naruto while Satsuki smirked, knowing it's a fake. Before the Ravenet threw her kunai at Naruto, much to his shock as he jumped out of the way while Sakura looked at Satsuki in disbelief. Satsuki, why would you do that? He got the password right, said Sakura, wondering why she attacked Naruto when he got the password right. Are you crazy? You could have killed me, yelled Naruto, only for Satsuki to take out another kunai and narrow her eyes. I'll admit you're faster than the last one. But you aren't too smart if you really think Naruto of all people could remember a password that long, let alone get it word for word. Satsuki said, making Sakura's eyes widen before she looked at Naruto. Yeah, there's no way Naruto could have remembered all that. Sakura said, seeing Satsuki was right and it's another fake. The Naruto I know would have been more likely to ask what the password was again or say something only we would know. Besides, the way you dodged wasn't something Naruto would do either. Said Satsuki, knowing Naruto would be more likely to throw his own weapon than dodge that fast. So, why don't you drop the disguise already and show us who you really are? Satsuki demanded while Naruto looked at them in surprise before smiled creepily and licked his lips. Aren't we the clever one? Said Naruto, in a female voice before they were engulfed in a cloud of smoke. With the smoke clearing revealing the Kunoichi they saw from the start of the second exam, the one that returned the kunai Anko had thrown at Naruto. Tell me, if your teammate is really that dim-witted, why would you come up with a password he'd never be able to remember? Questioned the Kunoichi, curious at why they'd choose a password their teammate would forget. That's because it wasn't meant for Naruto, it was for anyone who might have been listening in. It was a trap and you stumbled right into it. Said Satsuki with a smirk, making the Kunoichi's gaze darken while removing her hat. I'm impressed, you certainly haven't dropped your guard, have you? It seems this will be far more entertaining than I originally thought. The Kunoichi said while sticking her tongue with Sakura unable to help but shiver at the abnormally long tongue. She's way too creepy. And if Naruto isn't here then where is he? Thought Sakura, hoping that he hasn't been captured again or worse. Satsuki and Sakura tensed when the Kunoichi tossed her hat aside before reaching behind her to grab something. Only for their eyes to widen when she pulled out an earth scroll, the same scroll they needed. You'd love to get this earth scroll, wouldn't you? It'd go so nicely with your heaven scroll. Said the Kunoichi, holding the scroll up before to the Genin's shock she opened her mouth and wrapped her tongue around it, swallowing it whole. What the hell? Thought Satsuki in disbelief, not expecting her to eat the scroll like that. Well, when this all over, one of us will have both scrolls. The Kunoichi said, holding her hand up to face while Satsuki and Sakura tensed further as a feeling of unease began washing over them. And the other will be dead. Said the Kunoichi, lowering her hand to stare at the two genin, causing them to gasp as they were hit by a feeling of pure malice and bloodlust. Neither of them could move as they were suddenly assaulted by visions of their own deaths, being able to just feel the wounds inflicted on them, seeing their own blood splatter before their eyes. With each visions getting worse and more painful as if they were really being killed again and again. Until they gasped in shock and pain when the last vision was of a kunai being thrown and piercing their heads before the feeling of bloodlust began fading, causing Satsuki and Sakura to stumble back gasping for air at what they just saw and felt. Is this genjutsu? Satsuki thought, wondering if the Kunoichi cast a genjutsu on them before she gagged and fell to her hands and knees, throwing up everything in her stomach. While the Kunoichi had yet to move from her spot, looking at both genin, feeling some disappointment at how extremely they reacted to her killing intent, mostly from Satsuki's reaction. No, it's more than that, it's just her thirst for blood. Just like what happened with Zabuza, but so much worse. I didn't just want to die, I saw it, I saw every possible way she could kill us. What is she? Thought Satsuki, not sure if this woman was even human. Sakura, Satsuki said shakily as she looked at her teammate, knowing they need to get out of here and fast. Only to see the Pinkett was completely frozen and shaking on the ground, the Uchiha doubted she even heard her. No use, she's got it worse than me. Satsuki thought, seeing they definitely needed to escape as neither of them were in any shape to try and fight. Looking back at the Kunoichi, Satsuki shivered at the dark smirk on her face, seeing they really weren't dealing with another ninja, they were dealing with death itself. HM. You're paralyzed with fear, the Kunoichi stated, loving the sight of them unable to do anything but shake from her presence. Come on, move, thought Satsuki, glancing down at her hand as she slowly moved closer to her kunai holster. Just a little closer, come on, Satsuki, yes. Satsuki thought as she began shakily pulling out a kunai, before she began forcing herself to stand up. Very good. Now what happens? Questioned the Kunoichi, impressed that Satsuki was able to move, let alone stand, at the moment, making her curious what she planned to do now. With Satsuki's eyes widening as the killing intent hit her again, finding herself unable to move from her spot, no matter how much she's trying to force her body to obey her. It's no use. I can't move. Thought Satsuki, panicking at how she's left helpless, knowing that no one was here to save them this time. Don't worry, I'll make it quick, but I don't have to tell you that, do I? You've already seen it with your own eyes. The kunoichi said as she began approaching them while taking out two kunai, much to Satsuki's growing panic. I expected you to be more of a challenge, how disappointing. Said the kunoichi, holding her arm up before flicking the kunai towards Satsuki and Sakura. Satsuki's eyes widened at the sight of the kunai coming towards them, feeling her life start flashing before her eyes, that they were going to die now. The ravenet being unsure where it came from, only feeling relieved beyond measure as she felt a rush of desperation to move. Giving her the strength needed to bring her kunai down, stabbing herself in her leg. The sudden pain being enough to finally let her shake off the paralysis before immediately rushing and grabbing Sakura, doing so just in time as the kunai passed by them. Before Satsuki quickly jumped up into the trees, moving as fast as she could away from the kunoichi. While the kunoichi didn't move to stop their escape, instead looking at the blood on the ground and her kunai embedded in the tree behind where Satsuki and Sakura had been. Feeling more impressed at how Satsuki managed to free herself and escape. A desperate move, but a clever one. Overcoming the fear with pain. So it seems this prey isn't so helpless, after all. Thought the kunoichi, pleased at this new development, seeing she'll be getting the entertainment she was hoping for. The hunt begins. The kunoichi hissed eagerly before jumping up into the trees. With Satsuki and Sakura, Satsuki panted heavily as she sat in the tree she'd reached after she couldn't run anymore, looking down at the kunai still in her leg. Huh, Satsuki, said Sakura as she began coming out of her fear-induced trance now that they were away from the kunoichi, before she looked in shock as Satsuki pulled the kunai out of her leg, gritting her teeth at the pain. Satsuki, are you Aori? Sakura said before Satsuki quickly covered her mouth, knowing they still weren't safe and needed to be quiet. We need to keep moving, we need to get away from her. But how? Where? Satsuki thought desperately, wondering where would even be safe from the kunoichi, not sure if even leaving the forest of death would be safe. I've never seen Satsuki like this, she's got me scared. Sakura thought, used to seeing Satsuki always being calm and collected, seeing her scared only terrified the Pinkett more before Sakura saw a large shadow cover them. Making her look only for her eyes to widen in horror at the sight of a massive snake as she began shouting and try removing Satsuki's hand from her mouth, seeing the Uchiha still hasn't seen the snake right next to them. Satsuki, a snake. Sakura yelled after moving Satsuki's hand, causing Satsuki's head to snap in the snake's direction, her Sharingan instinctively activating at the sight just as the snake lunged at them. Luckily the girls managed to jump out of the way in time, with Satsuki cursing herself for not even noticing something like that and losing her cool. Only to start freaking out when the snake lunged at her again, unable to help but see the Kusa kunoichi again. No. Stay away from me, screamed Satsuki, throwing multiple shuriken at the snake with the shuriken slicing through the snake's head and neck making it hiss in pain before collapsing over a tree dead. Landing on a tree branch, Satsuki panted heavily as she looked at the dead snake, feeling relief that she was able to at least fight and kill that. Only for her eyes to widen in shock when it began cracking open as something came out of it, her fear returning when she saw it was the Kusa kunoichi. I sense your fear and desperation, it's only natural. The prey must never let down its guard, not even for a moment, in the presence of its predator. Said the kunoichi with a mad gleam in her eyes as her tongue hung out of her mouth, laughing wickedly as their frozen and terrified expressions. Then without warning the kunoichi lunged out of the snake's corpse, revealing her long and now snake-like body, wrapping around a tree as she rushed towards Satsuki. The Uchiha was unable to react at the sight, screaming in terror at what she thought was her own death coming at her. But before the kunoichi could reach Satsuki, several kunai and shuriken came rushing at her, stabbing into the tree, stopping her advance on Satsuki. with the sudden weapons making all three look to where they came from. Looks like I came just in time, someone said, with the three seeing Naruto standing in tree, much to Satsuki's and Sakura's relief. Naruto, said Sakura, smiling in relief that he's safe and here now. A little sooner would have been appreciated, Satsuki stated, though couldn't deny the relief she felt at the Uzumaki's arrival. Yeah, how about a thank you? And by the way, that dumb password you made, I forgot it, said Naruto, with Satsuki and Sakura feeling some annoyance, but now knew it really was Naruto, while the Kusa Kunoichi looked at him in annoyance and recognition. So, this is the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, and the son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, thought the Kunoichi, knowing exactly who Naruto is, making her intrigued that he was able to either escape or kill her snake summon. Given what she's heard, despite his heritage and having the Kyuubi, he wasn't anything special. Yet if he's still alive and able to almost get the drop on her, then perhaps there's more to him than she originally believed. She also wasn't foolish enough to just brush aside someone like him, containing the most powerful Biju and being the child of two of the strongest ninja to have ever lived. Not to mention being descended from a ninja clan that had been feared for their skill in Fuinjutsu. Feared enough that three of the great hidden villages, and numerous minor nations and villages banded together to wipe them out. The Kunoichi knew the only fools were those that'd brush aside someone with that kind of potential. Even more so that with how her teacher kept his heritage a secret and the prejudice he's dealt with for being a Jinchuriki, it'd be obvious he'd be viewed as nothing special. Perhaps I will mark more than just Satsuki today, that's if the boy proves entertaining enough, thought the Kunoichi, desiring to test Naruto herself and see if he was worthy of her mark. Naruto, get out of here. You don't know what you're up against. Hurry. Go now, while you still can. Satsuki yelled, knowing he doesn't stand a chance against the Kunoichi. So, Naruto, it seems you managed to bring down my snake. Well done, said the Kunoichi, making Naruto narrow his eyes at her. You're the one that sent that damn snake after me. Then that just means I'm kicking your next after that thing ate me. Even more so that you've been attacking my teammates, said Naruto, wanting to get payback against the Kunoichi after being eaten by a snake, while Satsuki and Sakura looked at him in disbelief. He doesn't get it. He doesn't know what he's dealing with. What do I do? Thought Satsuki, trying to think of a way they could escape the Kunoichi or make her leave. The Ravenet then realized there's only way they'll be able to get out of this alive, before she deactivated her Sharingan. You can have it, Satsuki said, causing Naruto, Sakura and the Kunoichi to look at her, the former two in confusion and the latter in intrigue at the Uchiha's offering. Before Satsuki reached into her weapons pouch and pulled out their heaven scroll, knowing it means they could end up forfeiting the exams, but it's better than ending up dead. The scroll, right? That's what you want. Then fine, take it and leave us in peace, said Satsuki, much to Naruto's and Sakura's shock she'd give up their scroll. What? Satsuki, are you crazy? We're just gonna hand the scroll over to the enemy, no way. What's wrong with you? Naruto demanded, not believing Satsuki would willingly give away their scroll. Shut up and stay out of it, Satsuki yelled, glaring at the Uzumaki. What? Said Naruto, gritting his teeth. Very wise, very sensible. Sometimes the helpless prey, if they are to save their own skins, realize that their only hope is to distract the predator with something even more precious, said the Kunoichi, wondering how they'll react when she doesn't care about the scroll at all and still attacks. Take it, said Satsuki, tossing the heaven scroll at the Kunoichi. Before she could grab it, Naruto rushed past her and Satsuki, grabbing the scroll, landing against a tree before kicking off and onto the same branch Satsuki was on. And he's fast as well, the Kunoichi thought, seeing Naruto could move rather fast. Would you stop playing the damn hero? Just stay out of this and leave it too, Satsuki said, getting angry at how Naruto kept getting in the way when she's trying to save their lives. only to be cut off when Naruto stood up straight and shouted, slamming his fist right into the Ravenette's face, knocking her off the branch. With Satsuki flipping through the air, grabbing another branch and flipping over it to land on another, not believing what just happened. "You idiot, you don't know what you're doing," yelled Satsuki only to see Naruto breathing heavily in anger, being able to tell he's angry with his stance. "I may not know the password, but I know who I am. You're the one I'm not so sure about. How do we know you're who you say you are?" Naruto said, much to Satsuki's and Sakura's disbelief. "What do you mean? Of course it's Satsuki," said Sakura, not believing he'd do this now of all times. "What the hell are you talking about? It's me, you idiot, though I doubt you'll listen to reason. Kami knows you never have before," said Satsuki, wishing for once Naruto would just do what she says rather than feeling the need to contradict her. "Liar. Liar. You may look just like her, you may sound just like her, but there's no way you're the Satsuki I know," Naruto yelled, glaring at Satsuki, refusing to believe the real Satsuki would ever surrender. "I don't care how tough of a fight you've been through. Surrendering, giving up the scroll, when did Satsuki become a coward? You keep saying I don't know what's going on, but I do. You've choked. How do you even know this creepy lady even cares about the scroll? Or what's stopping her from still attacking us even after she gets it?" demanded Naruto, making Satsuki's eyes widen, only for them to look at the kunoichi when she chuckled maliciously. "It's sad, but it's true," the kunoichi said with her body returning to normal as she stood up, laughing madly. "As far as the scroll goes, I could simply kill you and take it," said the kunoichi, pulling up her sleeve, revealing her summoning tattoo, before moving to bite her thumb and summon another snake. But before she could, Naruto pulled out a kunai and charged at her. "I'd like to see you try," Naruto shouted, intending to take this creepy ninja down. "No, don't. Naruto, run," yelled Satsuki, not wanting him to end up getting himself killed just to prove a point. "If you won't do anything, Satsuki, then I'll do it myself," thought Naruto, refusing to give up just because Satsuki was scared of some random kunoichi. "Very well then," the kunoichi thought, stopping from summoning another snake, for the time being, figuring she could test him to see what he can do. Jumping into the air, Naruto threw his kunai at the kunoichi with her jumping out of the way before it even got close. "Take this," Naruto said, quickly pulling out 6 shuriken and throwing them at the kunoichi while she's in the air. Though the kunoichi pulled out a kunai and deflected each of the shuriken once they got close enough to her, only to feel some surprise when they were all engulfed in clouds of smoke, revealing they were actually transformed shadow clones. With 3 of the clones grabbing the other 3 and throwing them at the kunoichi. Seeing the clones coming at her, kunoichi grabbed one by the ankle when it tried slamming its foot into her head, using her momentum to flip over the clone, before dispelling it with a kick to the head, with her then turning and throwing her kunai through the second clone's head, dispelling it as well. "I've got you," said the third clone, throwing a punch at the kunoichi when she landed on a tree branch, only for her to grab its fist and smile wickedly. "No, I've got you," said the kunoichi as she quickly pulled out an explosive tag and slapped it on the clone's chest before kicking them into the remaining 3 clones, destroying all of them as the explosive tag detonated. The kunoichi then immediately turned and grabbed Naruto by his neck when he tried sneaking up behind her, only for him to suddenly be replaced by a log, with an explosive tag. Surprised at the sudden substitution jutsu, the kunoichi jumped away from the log just in time as it exploded, with her shielding herself from the explosion and debris. Now where did he go? Though the kunoichi, looking around for where Naruto disappeared to. "Who's got who now, creep?" Naruto yelled, diving down towards the kunoichi before throwing a kunai at her, making her look up at him with narrowed eyes. Once the kunai was close enough, the kunoichi grabbed it out of the air before smirking and threw it beneath her at another Naruto. "Clearly not you, still," said the kunoichi, having sensed the Uzumaki below her, knowing the one above her was just a clone and the real one was waiting to attack from below. Only for the kunoichi to be surprised when Naruto burst into a cloud of smoke when the kunai impaled him, revealing it was just a clone. Before she grunted when the Naruto above her smashed his fist into her head, knocking her towards the ground. The real one was above me, thought the kunoichi, surprised at the misdirection, before flipping in the air and landing on her feet. Guess again, said Naruto with a smirk while Satsuki and Sakura were shocked that he actually succeeded in hitting the kunoichi. He actually hit her, thought Satsuki, not believing Naruto landed a hit. My, that was certainly surprising. I truly thought the real you was down below while the shadow clone was meant to distract me. I'm sure your parents must be quite impressed with you, the kunoichi said, smirking when she saw Naruto flinch before he launched himself at her. I don't need to impress anyone. I just need to take you down, Naruto said, throwing a punch at the kunoichi, only for her to deflect it. Strike a nerve, did I? Isn't that why you became a ninja? To impress someone, to feel validated in your accomplishments? Said the kunoichi, ducking under a kick from the Uzumaki before delivering a spin kick to his chest, sending Naruto crashing against a tree only for him to disperse in a cloud of smoke. With the kunoichi turning blocking a punch from Naruto, only for the whiskered blonde to grab her arm and spin around to slam his foot into her head. But the kunoichi raised her other arm, blocking the kick and grabbing the Uzumaki's leg. Before she spun around and threw him up into the air, jumping up after him. You do seem like the type. Always seeking attention, always wanting everyone to look at you. It makes for a rather poor ninja, someone constantly putting themselves on display. The kunoichi said, making Naruto grit his teeth and twist around in the air to slam his fist into her face, only for her to grab his hand. Shut it. You don't know anything about me. I became a ninja so that I can become Hokage and protect my precious people, Naruto retorted as he flipped around to slam his foot into the kunoichi's chin. The kunoichi simply bent her body in an abnormal way, dodging the kick before kicking Naruto against a tree while she landed on a branch. With the Uzumaki managing to flip and stick to the tree with his feet, glaring at the kunoichi. You become Hokage. Don't make me laugh. From what I've seen, you would be a rather poor leader of anything. That display you put on before the first exam did little more than paint a large target on your back. Then doing the same thing before the second exam. And what precious people do you even have? After all, you don't seem to have a family or friends, you're all alone, with no one to care about you. Taunted the kunoichi, making the Uzumaki grit his teeth as his eyes flashed red. Shut up, yelled Naruto, lunging at the kunoichi with surprising speed, though she still managed to jump out of the way of his attack. Not stopping there, Naruto turned in the air and threw a kunai at the kunoichi, which dodged by ducking down. Only for the kunai to be enveloped in smoke, before the kunoichi grabbed Naruto's fist when he tried punching her. Before her eyes widened when she saw an explosive tag on his chest, which soon exploded, sending her flying off the tree she was standing on. I do have precious people. I have Satsuki, Sakura, Kakashi-sensei, Old Man Hokage, and all my friends. And I'll do anything to protect them, because that's my nindo. My ninja way, Naruto said, jumping at the kunoichi to smash his foot into her head. Only for the kunoichi to grab his foot, pulling the whiskered blonde in close and slamming her fist right into his face, sending Naruto flying back and crashing against a tree, grunting as he fell to a branch. Your ninja way, how pathetic. Is that the same sensei who entered you three into the exams, sending you all straight to me and your deaths? Yes, how caring of him to enter three rookie, and clearly unprepared, genin into a tournament where you could die. And the Hokage, you're a fool if you think he cares, the only thing every ninja in this village is to him are tools. Tools to be tossed aside when they're broken. But not you, I suppose, you are rather valuable. After all, why else would the Hokage look after a no-name orphan unless they're useful? If you weren't, he wouldn't even waste his breath on you. The kunoichi said, making Naruto growl as he got up and glared at her. Shut up, Naruto said through gritted teeth. Why? Do you not like hearing the truth? After all, you are alone. So, very alone. It must hurt, knowing you're only valuable for what you have inside you, not what you can do yourself. After all, without that beast, you wouldn't have anything, no one to care and only yourself for company. Said the kunoichi, her smirk growing as Naruto flinched at her words. While her intrigue grew as she saw red chakra begin emitting off of his body with his nails lengthening into claws, his canines growing into fangs, with his whisker marks becoming darker and more jagged. Before his head snapped towards her, his eyes now being blood red with slit pupils filled with bloodlust and murderous intent. With Satsuki and Sakura looking in shock at his sudden transformation and the red chakra coming off of him. What is this? This pure hatred coming from Naruto, the bloodlust and malevolence. Is this the power he used against that hunter Nin in the Land of Waves? Satsuki thought, shocked that Naruto could possess a power like this. What is that red chakra? And where is it coming from? Thought Sakura, shaking at the sight of the dark look in Naruto's eyes. I'm gonna kill you, growled Naruto, which only made the kunoichi's smirk grow further before she bit her thumb and spread it across her summoning tattoo. Then perhaps it's time I finish this, said the kunoichi, going through hands while Naruto roared and leapt at her intent to rip her head off. Summoning jutsu, the kunoichi said, summoning another giant snake, creating powerful winds from its sudden appearance, throwing Naruto back before he could reach the kunoichi. With the snake hissing and lunged at Naruto, only for the whiskered blonde to vanish in a burst of speed, reappearing under the snake's head and slammed his fist into it. The force of the blow actually managing to lift the entire snake off the ground, crashing through several tree branches above it. Before Naruto vanished and reappeared on top of the snake, running at the kunoichi on all fours. It seems the fox might be in control now, or at least he's being controlled by his baser instincts. Thought kunoichi, ducking down just in time as Naruto swiped his claws at her. Before being forced to raise her arms, blocking Naruto's axe kick when he spun around and tried smashing his foot into her head. With the Uzumaki immediately backflipping away before she could try countering him. Landing on the snake's back, Naruto rushed the kunoichi again, with her now being ready and jumping over him to strike at his back. Only for her eyes to widen when Naruto's hand shot up and grabbed her ankle, slamming the kunoichi back down onto the snake before spinning around and sending her crashing through a tree, making the kunoichi grunt as she skidded along a branch. While Naruto jumped off the snake as it began thrashing around to throw him off, with him flipping and landing on a tree before kicking off it back towards the snake. Eat this, said Naruto, slamming his fist into the snake's nose, knocking its head back against a tree, making the summon hiss in pain from the strike, with Naruto continuing his assault and rapidly punching it, knocking the snake through several trees and branches. Perhaps he hasn't lost control, but how in control is he at the moment? Let's find out, thought the kunoichi, turning towards Satsuki. Kill the girl, ordered the kunoichi, directing the snake to attack Satsuki. With the snake's eyes snapping open and hissing loudly before swinging its tail and smacking Naruto away when he tried attacking again, sending the whiskered blonde crashing through a few branches. Before the snake then lunged at Satsuki, making the ravenette's eyes widen as she tried jumping out of the way, only to find herself frozen in place. No, not again, Satsuki thought, trying her hardest to make her body move, but couldn't do anything but watch as the snake grew closer. Satsuki! Sakura cried out in horror that her teammate was going to be killed. But before the snake could devour the Uchiha, Naruto suddenly appeared right in front of her, stabbing two kunai into the snake's head and actually holding it back. The sight shocking Satsuki and Sakura that Naruto was able to stop the snake, while the kunoichi was further intrigued and impressed. So, He can already tap into the Kyuubi's chakra and remain in control. Most impressive. As for the rest of his abilities, while rough around the edges, his latent potential and unpredictability makes up for his lack of training. Yes, I believe he has proven himself more than worthy of my mark. Thought the kunoichi, pleased at what she's seen and knew marking Naruto along with Satsuki would prove very beneficial. Hey, are you hurt? Scaredy cat, said Naruto, looking at Satsuki with a smirk, much to the Ravenette's shock. Naruto, Satsuki thought, remembering how she said the same thing to him after she saved him from the demon brothers when he froze up, now having her words thrown back at her after she's frozen up. Standing there frozen like a frightened rabbit. No way you're the Satsuki I'd know. She'd never freeze up or surrender. She wouldn't let anything stop her. The Satsuki I knew was never a coward. Naruto said, with Satsuki looking at him with wide eyes. Naruto, thought Satsuki, clenching her fists at how similar those words were to Itachi's, that she's nothing but a coward not worth killing. Feeling the fear-induced paralysis fading away at his words, intending to show she wasn't a fake and is the real Satsuki he knew, that she will never be a coward. Only for her eyes to widen when the kunoichi's tongue suddenly appeared and wrapped around his shoulders and back, lifting the Uzumaki into the air before he could react. What the hell? This is disgusting. Let me go, you sick freak. Naruto yelled, struggling to get out of the tongue. My, perhaps there's more to you, Naruto. You've shown great potential to be one of the strongest ninja in the world. But you will never reach your full potential if you remain in Konoha. So, I will leave you a gift to help you along the way. Said the kunoichi before grabbing her wrist, gathering dark chakra in her fingertips as 5 purple flames appeared on her fingers while her tongue lifted up his jacket, exposing the 8 trigram seal. What the hell are you? Said Naruto, only to gag in pain when the kunoichi slammed her hand into his stomach. 5 elements seal, the kunoichi said, cutting off Naruto's access to the Kyuubi's chakra in order to keep the fox from interfering, causing his appearance to return to normal. With Naruto slumping forward unconscious from the loss of the Kyuubi's chakra and the strain from the seal being placed on him. Before the kunoichi tossed Naruto against a tree, with her making a hand sign as her neck elongated straight towards him. Satsuki, do something, Sakura shouted, worried about what the kunoichi was doing, while Satsuki remained frozen. Then before they could react, the kunoichi bit down onto Naruto's back, making the whiskered blonde cry out in agony. With the kunoichi letting go and looking as 3 black claw marks in a circle formation appeared near her bite mark. The cursed seal of hell, I believe it's a rather fitting choice. Thought the kunoichi, knowing the cursed seal of hell was one of her strongest cursed seals, being the counterpart of the cursed seal of heaven, with it having an even lower success rate of surviving it, nor was she able to include a portion of her soul. Given how unlike her other cursed seals, anyone that somehow survived it would possess the full power of Jugo's Kekkei Genkai. As well as the fact she had included Biju chakra and the chakra of the 5 Genryu she managed to acquire within the seal as a means to further boost its power. But so far no one has survived being branded with it, leaving what it could truly do a mystery even to her. Though I believe even without the Kyuubi's chakra, Naruto will survive it. Especially with his heritage, the kunoichi thought as her neck receded back to her body, while Naruto's unconscious body collapsed onto a branch. Now then, what will you do without your savior? Said the kunoichi, turning back towards Satsuki, only to see the Uchiha clenching her fists and glaring at her with her Sharingan activated. I'll start by burning you to ash, said Satsuki, taking out a kunai, making the kunoichi smirk. At last, her Uchiha blood is stirring. Now I can finally see what she is capable of. The kunoichi, pleased at this development before dismissing her snake, knowing she wouldn't need it for this fight. While Satsuki rushed the kunoichi, jumping up high into the air before throwing several kunai at the kunoichi with her merely sidestepping the projectiles. While the Ravenette flipped over her, landing on a tree before kicking off towards the kunoichi. Giving a shout, Satsuki slammed her foot into the kunoichi's arm when she raised it to block her attack. Not stopping there, Satsuki gave another kick before jumping over the kunoichi, avoiding her leg when she kicked it up at her. Landing on the branch, Satsuki backflipped away to keep some distance between them while the kunoichi rushed towards her. Running at her as well, Satsuki jumped and flipped, delivering an axe kick which the kunoichi blocked and pushed her away. The ravenet hopped back, avoiding the sweeping kick from the kunoichi before throwing a punch at her which was blocked, before throwing another that was blocked as well. Satsuki then spun around and kicked her leg up at the kunoichi, only for her to move back, avoiding it. With the kunoichi then lifting her leg and tried stomping down at Satsuki, which the Uchiha avoided. Ducking under another kick, Satsuki blocked the following punch before ducking again from another punch. Moving to the side to avoid the next kick, Satsuki spun around, delivering a spin kick to the kunoichi only for her to jump into the air, dodging it. The kunoichi then landed behind Satsuki only to vanish in a burst of speed, making it hard for Satsuki to follow her movements. Satsuki's eyes widening as despite her speed, she could still see where the kunoichi was running and slithering across the branches. I can see, thought Satsuki before jumping back and avoiding the kunoichi crashing down on top of her. I can see, Satsuki thought, making a hand sign, knowing if she can see where the kunoichi will be, then she can kill her. Fire style. Grand Fireball Jutsu, said Satsuki, unleashing a large stream of fire at the Kusa kunoichi, engulfing her in a vortex of flames. Though when the flames vanished, Satsuki saw something burrowing within the branch before jumping back when the kunoichi emerged, dodging her attack. With the two not moving from their spots, waiting to see what the other will do next. She's good. She's able to anticipate my attacks and her aim is true. You can see my moves, can't you, Satsuki? Thought the kunoichi, pleased that even though she only had 2 tomo in each eye, Satsuki's Sharingan was advanced enough to still track her movements and react accordingly. Satsuki then suddenly began jumping around the kunoichi, looking for an opening to strike her from, with the kunoichi following where Satsuki was moving before making a hand sign. Wind style. Great breakthrough, said the kunoichi, unleashing a powerful blast of wind towards Satsuki, only for the ravenet to dodge it, with the wind destroying a tree. Before the Uchiha jumped up above the kunoichi, standing on the underside of a branch until she immediately leapt at her as fast as she could. The sight surprising the kunoichi, leaving her no time to react as Satsuki wrapped her arms and legs around her torso before jumping off the branch, sending them plummeting towards the ground. I got you, Satsuki yelled as she smashed the kunoichi head first into a branch, cracking the branch from the impact, along with hearing the sound of the kunoichi's skull cracking. Jumping back, Satsuki looked at the kunoichi warily, honestly not sure if she actually killed her or not, but didn't want to take any chances. Only to be shocked when the kunoichi suddenly dissolved into a pile of bed. A mud clone. She must have used a substitution, thought Satsuki, before she quickly jumped out of the way of a barrage of kunai raining down on her. Pulling out some ninja wire, Satsuki wrapped it around a branch, using it to swing around the tree to where the kunai came from. Landing on another branch, Satsuki looked around but didn't see the kunoichi anywhere, only to cry out when she ran at her and slammed her fist into the ravenet's face. With Satsuki unable to keep up with her sudden barrage, gagging as the kunoichi slammed her knee into her chest before another punch to the face knocked her back. Satsuki, said Sakura in concern, looking down at her teammate as the kunoichi approached her. What a disappointment you turned out to be. Your ancestors weep, the Uchiha clan should thank me for killing you. Silly little worm, the kunoichi said wickedly, only to cry out when an explosion went off behind her, knocking to her the ground while Satsuki shot up into the air. Throwing multiple shuriken at the kunoichi, though purposefully not aiming at her, before pulling on the wires she attached to them. Impressive. The manipulating windmill triple blades technique, said the kunoichi, impressed at Satsuki acting like she was defeated to distract her before moving in for the attack. Grunting as the wires wrapped around her body and restrained her to the tree, the kunoichi gritted her teeth from the sharp wires digging into her flesh. While Satsuki bit down on the ends of the wires and going through hand signs. Fire style. Dragon fire jutsu. Satsuki said before unleashing a stream of fire from her mouth that traveled along the wires towards the kunoichi. The fire soon impacted her before burning straight through the tree and rushing out the other side while the kunoichi screamed in agony as she was burned alive. She did it, said Sakura in amazement that Satsuki was able to defeat the kunoichi. Once the flames began dying out, Satsuki saw the charred tree and the kunoichi's burned body, with the ravenet panting from all the chakra she used. But was relieved that the kunoichi was finally dead. While Sakura jumped towards her teammate to make sure she's alright. Satsuki, you did it. Are you okay? Sakura said, smiling at the Uchiha only to look at her in concern upon seeing how tired she was. But before either genin could react, their eyes widened in shock at the sound of wires snapping, before they found themselves unable to move. No, impossible, said Satsuki, gritting her teeth, not believing the kunoichi was somehow still alive after that. Such mastery of the Sharingan at such a young age. You're a true Uchiha after all. Yes, you'll do nicely. The kunoichi said with her voice slowly changing to a raspy, male voice. Satsuki gritted her teeth as she looked at the kunoichi, seeing she was really still alive before noticing she changed her headband from a Kusa one to an Odo one. Along with seeing her face was partially melted, revealing another face underneath. A face with pale white skin and a golden eye with a slit pupil and purple markings around it. You're definitely his sister. If anything, your eyes are even keener than Itachi's, said the kunoichi, much to Satsuki's shock that this person knew Itachi. Who are you? What do you want? Satsuki yelled, with the kunoichi merely smirking at him. What I want, that will have to wait until we meet again. Until you finish this test. You and Naruto, the kunoichi said before she made a hand sign and her neck shot out towards Satsuki. The Uchiha unable to react in time as the kunoichi bit down on her neck like she did with Naruto, leaving behind 3 black tomos in a circle formation. And the curse seal of heaven, matching Naruto's curse seal of hell. Yes, these two will do great things, thought the kunoichi as she detached herself from Satsuki's neck, leaving her screaming in pain and clutching her neck, before falling to the ground unconscious. Satsuki, said Sakura in concern and horror before looking at the kunoichi. You, who are you? What did you do to Naruto and Satsuki? Demanded Sakura, with the kunoichi chuckling wickedly. Before to Sakura's horror, she grabbed her face and ripped it off, fully revealing the face underneath. My name is Orochimaru. As for what I gave them, simply a few little parting gifts. Very soon, Naruto and Satsuki will both seek me out, they will desire the power I offer them and the lies I will expose for Naruto. The truths that were kept from him. But in the meantime, I'm content with the power they have both shown me today. Until then, I look forward to see them use my gifts. Orochimaru said before sinking into the ground, while Sakura looked at where he was in shock. Before the Pinkett shook her head and grabbed Satsuki, lifting her up before going to where Naruto was. Knowing she needed to grab her teammates and find shelter before any more teammates show up, or worse if Orochimaru comes back. With Orochimaru, yes, that went much better than I anticipated, thought Orochimaru with a pleased smirk, knowing he's planted the seeds to bring Naruto and Satsuki to his side. Though while he knew Satsuki would eventually come to him no matter what, given her desire for more power so she can kill Itachi, no matter where the power came from. Naruto, on the other hand, will need a bigger push to bring him over. And the Snake Sanin already knew exactly what kind of push was needed with what he's learned about the Uzumaki. It wasn't long before Orochimaru found where the Odo team was, jumping down right in front of them, much to their shock at their master's appearance before the 3 all quickly knelt down in front of him. What do you need us to do, Orochimaru-sama? Questioned Dosu, assuming he needed them to do something before they assassinated Satsuki Uchiha. Not all of you, just you, Kin. Orochimaru said, much to their shock, especially Kin's, that the snake Sanin needed something from her specifically. Oh, of course Orochimaru-sama. Anything you need me for. Kin said before standing up when Orochimaru motioned her to follow him, while Dosu and Zaku remained where they were. With Orochimaru leading Kin a good distance away from her teammates, ensuring they wouldn't be overheard. I have a special assignment for you Kin, for you and Tayuya. Said Orochimaru, surprising the Ravenet. What do you need us to do, Orochimaru-sama? Kin asked, unable to deny her excitement that she's being given an important task, even better that she'll be working with Tayuya on it. The two of you are to seduce Naruto Uzumaki by any means necessary and bring him, willingly, to Oto. Even if you must sabotage the assassination attempt on Satsuki Uchiha to gain his trust, do so if it helps in your new goal. Orochimaru said, causing Kin to deflate at hearing just what her task will be. Are you sure, Orochimaru-sama? You want that loudmouth kid to join Oto? 'Cause he really doesn't seem like anything special. I'd say it'd be a miracle if he even survives this forest. Said Kin, not wanting to question her master, but she really had a hard time wondering why he'd want her and Tayuya to seduce that annoying kid. Given everything she's seen since the start of the Chunin exams, along with when she and her teammates spied on the confrontation Team 7 had with the Suna team prior to them. The whiskered blonde really didn't seem impressive at all. Only for the Ravenet to shiver and bow her head when Orochimaru narrowed his eyes at her in displeasure. It seems you need to be reminded on how foolish it is to judge one based simply on what's on the surface. My own former teammates are such examples. Tsunade has enough physical strength to destroy a building with a simply flick of her finger, despite currently being a shadow of what she once was, yet you wouldn't think that just by looking at her. And Jiraiya, he was a fool as a genin and he's still a fool now, yet he's also one of the most powerful ninja alive that would be able to fight most other S-class ninja alone and come out the only one alive at the end. So, do you still believe Naruto is nothing impressive simply from what you've seen and further question my reasoning? Orochimaru demanded, making Kin gulp nervously, knowing what usually happens to those that displease the snake Sanin. No Orochimaru-sama, I understand and see your point. I'll do my best to get close to Naruto Uzumaki and bring him to Oto. Kin replied, accepting her new orders and understanding Orochimaru's point. Just because the whiskered blonde looked unimpressive doesn't mean he isn't. Good. Now return to your team, but do not tell them anything of your assignment. Said Orochimaru, knowing Dosu and Zaku will likely be killed when they confront Naruto and Satsuki, once they awaken and use their curse seals. Either by the Uzumaki and Uchiha, or by Kin in order to begin earning Naruto's trust and get close to him. Yes Orochimaru-sama, said Kin, bowing to the Sanin before returning to her teammates. Now to go deal with Anko. Thought Orochimaru. Jumping away to prepare himself for the reunion with his former apprentice that's deluded herself into believing she's the hunter, having a message he wants her to deliver to his old teacher. You don't even realize it yet, but you've already lost Naruto and Satsuki, you old monkey. And it's all thanks to the information that Naruto's unknowingly given me, the information about his weakness. Orochimaru thought gleefully, knowing exactly how to get Naruto to join him. Given how he now knew his weakness was autophobia, also known as the fear of being alone, which wasn't surprising given how he lived most of his life isolated from his peers aside from Satsuki. Leaving him desperate for any form of attention, even if it's negative attention. Which is why he's having Kin and Tayuya get close to him and earn his trust. As the closer they get to Naruto and the more he trusts them, the less likely he is to go against them. Even after learning they're his subordinates, he'd be hesitant to fight either of them. Not wanting to risk them abandoning and leaving him alone. Even more so since the snake Sanin is having them seduce him, giving Naruto the affection he craves so much. Combine that with Satsuki being his only real friend and her eventually coming to him for power, with Naruto being her only real tie left to Konoha. Orochimaru will soon have both of them without much trouble, as where one goes the other will be sure to follow. You could have done more to prevent that fear from taking root, Sarutobi-sensei. But now that weakness is how I will turn Naruto against you and Konoha, bringing him straight to me. Thought Orochimaru, eager for what will soon be coming for Konoha, what he will soon create. In another part of the Forest of Death, Team 9 consisting of Hinata Hyuga, Shino Aburame and Kiba Inuzuka along with his Ninken partner, Akamaru, were quickly jumping through the trees. All three of them moving as fast as they can towards the tower. Hoping they'll run into another team along the way, but mostly wanting to put as much distance between them and the Suna team. Am I the only one still freaking out? That Sand Kid just killed that AIM team, even after they were going to hand over the scroll. Said Kiba, still being able to smell the blood after they saw that Suna Ninja, Gaara, crushed the AIM team with his sand. Akamaru barked in agreement with his partner, still terrified at Gaara's dark presence and the bloodlust radiating off of him. With Shino subtly tensing, knowing how close they nearly came to being killed while Hinata shivered at remembering the screams. It's obvious those Suna Ninja are far above Genin level with that sand able to automatically react to any attack. It's unlikely anyone else participating in the exams would be able to so much as scratch Gaara. That's not counting what his brother and sister could be capable of, but if they're even half as strong as him then they're the biggest threat. Shino said, doubting any of the other genin would stand a chance Gaara in a fight. Why yeah, I really hope we don't have to fight in any of them. Said Hinata, worried at the chance any of them would end up having to fight the Suna team. No kidding. If the next round of exams involves any fighting, let's all agree to just forfeit if we end up matched against that Gaara guy. I'd rather lose than get crushed. Kiba said, with Shino and Hinata nodding in agreement, knowing forfeiting would be their only option against Gaara. Let's just hope we don't run into them. Wait. Shino said, stopping on a tree branch and looked around, making Kiba and Hinata stop as well. What is it, Shino? Hinata asked, wondering why he came to a stop, before Kiba sniffed the air and stiffened. There's another Tay, said Kiba, only to be cut off when multiple kunai were thrown at him, stabbing through his pants and jacket pinning him to the tree. Kiba, Hinata said in worry at seeing her teammate be attacked, only for her eyes to widen when her cousin, Neji Hyuga, jumped down behind Shino. 8 trigrams 32 palms. Neji said before striking 2 of Shino's tenketsu. 2 palms. 4 palms. 8 palms. 16 palms. 8 trigrams 32 palms. Said Neji, finishing the strikes with a final one that sent Shino flying off the branch and crashing into a tree. Nay Neji, said Hinata in disbelief that her cousin would attack her and her teammates, not expecting him to attack a fellow Konoha team. While Neji narrowed his eyes at his cousin, but felt pleased that he was able to locate them in the forest, unable to pass up the chance to take Hinata out of the exams. HMPH, save yourself any further embarrassment Hinata-sama and simply hand over your scroll. Fate has already decided that you aren't meant to go any further in the exams and I cannot promise your safety, if you decide to refuse. Neji said, making Kiba glare at him while Shino was struggling to get up after his tenketsu were sealed. Hey, why don't you try fighting someone that'll kick your... Kiba said while struggling to take out the kunai, which had buried themselves deep on the tree, refusing to let Neji get away with attack his teammate, knowing Hinata wouldn't be able to fight her own cousin. Only for the Inuzuka to freeze when Neji's teammate Tenten appeared, holding a kunai at his neck. Don't even think of escaping, warned Tenten while frowning at ambushing their own comrades. Well, hand over your scroll, now. Neji demanded, with Hinata looking between her cousin and her teammate being held back, unsure what to do. Since the brunette did want to continue on in the exams and prove she's strong, she also didn't want to risk either of her teammates getting hurt any more than they already have. Before Hinata tensed when she felt someone appear behind her, making her glance to see Neji's other teammates Rock Lee behind her. Please forgive our unyouthful ambush, but even here we are meant to collect both required scrolls to progress, even if it means taking one from our comrades, said Lee while frowning, since neither he nor Tenten wanted to take a scroll from another Konoha team. As despite it not mattering how or who they took a scroll from, they'd have preferred taking one from a foreign team rather than their comrades. Unfortunately, they knew Neji wouldn't miss the chance to take out his cousin's team with them assisting out of loyalty to their own teammate, as well as to make sure that Neji didn't take things too far. Hinata looked at her teammates, not wanting to end up disappointing them with her decision, but knew they were done for. Something Shino and Kiba understood too, with the Aburame heir nodding in resignation while Kiba glared at Neji, Tenten and Lee before lowering his head in acceptance. Oh okay, here, Hinata said in resignation while reaching into her weapons and pouch and pulling out their heaven scroll, having been the one to carry it given no one would suspect her due to her timidness. At least it wasn't for nothing, said Tenten as she stepped away from Kiba while Lee grabbed the heaven scroll, with them now having both scrolls needed to pass, making them glad they didn't attack teammate for nothing. A wise choice, Hinata-sama. Perhaps now you will begin accepting the path fate has given you, Neji said before he and his teammates jumped away. I'm sorry, said Hinata while going over and freeing Kiba of the kunai, before they picked up Shino. Do not apologize, Hinata. We couldn't have anticipated an ambush from another Konoha team nor that your cousin would try seeking us out, Shino said, with Kiba nodding in agreement. Yeah, there wasn't anything we could do, especially after we were lucky to escape with our lives earlier. I suppose just getting eliminated is better than ending up dead. Besides, there's always next time, said Kiba, looking at the positives as they began heading back towards the exit. With Team 9. Meanwhile, it wasn't long before Team 9 reached the tower, not needing to worry about having to stop now that they had both scrolls. Could we really not have gone after a different team, Neji? Tenten asked as they entered the tower, looking at the Hyuga with a frown. What does it matter which team we get a scroll from? As long as we have a heaven scroll and an earth scroll, it doesn't matter. Besides, being from the same village doesn't exempt anyone from being a target. We could have just as easily been attacked by a different team from Konoha, said Neji, knowing as long as they had both scrolls they passed. How they got them is inconsequential. Still, it's most unyouthful to attack our comrades, even more so that we didn't face them in open combat, allowing for an equal chance for them to get our scroll, said Lee, preferring if they'd at least let things be more equal in which team got both scrolls. Both you should just, Neji said, only to stop and narrow his eyes, making Tenten and Lee look at him. There's someone else here, said Neji, sensing there's other people in the tower. The three looked around for who else could be here until they heard footsteps making them look, only to be surprised to see the Suna team. Before Tamari and Kankuro noticed Team 9 with both Suna ninja smirking at them, seeing that they beat all the Konoha teams. Sorry to disappoint if you were hoping to get here first, Kankuro said as they continued on their way. I'm more surprised that anyone else even got here already. I thought it'd take another team a day at least, stated Tamari, knowing with Gaara it wouldn't take them any time at all to pass. While Lee, Neji, and Tenten looked at them in disbelief that they weren't the first team to have arrived. It hasn't even been an entire day yet, said Lee, not expecting anyone to have arrived so soon. Just how strong are those guys? Tenten muttered, looking at the Suna team. The one with the gourd, he doesn't even have a scratch on him, Neji said, narrowing his eyes while feeling that Gaara was the real threat between the three of them. With Sakura, after getting both of her teammates, it took Sakura some time moving them both through the forest until she managed to locate a hollowed-out tree that'd keep them hidden, before laying them both down and began tending to their injuries, while also feeling they were burning with fevers, making the Pinkett place some wet cloths on their foreheads to help cool them down. The only thing that's improved is their breathing, but they're still burning up. But those marks on their necks, I don't know what they're doing to them. Sakura thought while looking at Naruto and Satsuki in concern, neither of them looking like they'll wake up anytime soon. The only movement they make is when they keep shivering and twitching in pain, which only makes Sakura more concerned at what Orochimaru did to them. And Naruto's even worse than Satsuki, thought Sakura as she looked at the whiskered blonde, given how he'd occasionally thrash around, forcing Sakura to hold him down so he didn't hurt himself even more. Moving closer to get a better look at the mark on his neck, Sakura looked at the Satsuki's, seeing they looked similar but were still different. Which only confused and worried her more at what they were and what they did. Are they some kind of seals? Orochimaru said they're supposed to be gifts, but who knows what that could mean. They could be meant to control Naruto and Satsuki or turn them into monsters. I don't know what to do. Sakura thought, hating how she can't really do anything but try and make sure her teammates don't die. Before she quickly began dabbing their foreheads as they started shaking again, hoping that they'll wake up soon. Unaware of what's going on inside their minds at the moment. Satsuki's mindscape. Foolish little sister. I almost pity you. Mangekyo Sharingan. No. Stop it. Stop it. Not again. Satsuki screamed, holding her head as she watched Itachi murder everyone again and again. Shisui, Izumi, Uncle Tayaki and Auntie Uruchi, their parents, everyone around her kept dying over and over, no matter how much she begged it to stop. Why? Why is it happening? Make it stop, please. Begged Satsuki, falling to her knees and closing her eyes but could still see everyone dying despite her efforts. To test the limits of my abilities, it is of great importance. Shut up. Shut up. You're insane. Satsuki yelled, trying to block out Itachi's voice, only to begin shaking when her eyes unwillingly opened and she saw Itachi standing right in front of her. The sight of her brother made Satsuki stumble back before she took off running out of the room crying in fear. Leave me alone. I don't wanna die. I don't wanna die, cried Satsuki, terrified that Itachi will kill her next. Before the Ravenet tripped, falling to her hands and knees when she saw Itachi appear in front of her, much to her horror. I have acted as the older brother you desired for one reason, because I wanted to discover how powerful you were. I needed to find a worthy opponent to test the limits of my own abilities. You have that unique potential. I'm not going to be test for you or anyone else. I'm going to kill you. Satsuki shouted, glaring at the older Uchiha. Now I've made you hate me. Now you have the desire to defeat me. Which is exactly why I'm going to allow you to live. It's all for my own benefit. Like me, you may be one of the few who can use Mangekyo Sharingan. But there is a catch, you must take the life of your best friend. You must kill him, just as I did. No, I'll never be like you, I'll never kill someone I care about. Said Satsuki, refusing to be anything like Itachi or even think of killing Naruto. Only to be horrified when Itachi drew his sword and Naruto appeared in front of him on his knees. Then you're still too weak to ever kill me, foolish little sister. No, Satsuki screamed, running to stop him, only for Itachi to bring his sword down and kill Naruto as well, much to her horror. The Ravenet's horror only growing as everything suddenly reset, finding herself back in the room where she found Itachi standing over their parents' bodies. With everything soon repeating as she was forced to watch everyone die all over again. Please stop. Please make it stop, begged Satsuki, covering her ears and closing her eyes as she curled into a ball, desperate to not see it all again. Only for the Uchiha to be forced to watch it all, no matter how desperately she closed her eyes or tried looking away. She still saw Itachi slaughtering their entire clan before it started getting worse as she saw him killing Naruto, Sakura, Kakashi, everyone else she started caring about. Making it even worse that she's forced to see not only her clan be massacred again, but everyone else as well. You could have saved them. Satsuki shakily opened her eyes, only to be surprised at seeing her 7-year-old self, standing front of her. You could have saved them, but you didn't. You did nothing as they were killed. That's not true. I wanted to save them, I tried fighting Itachi, but, said Satsuki. But you still ran from him, like a coward. You'll still run when you see him again, because you're scared and he'll kill everyone again. No, he won't. I'm not afraid and I will kill Itachi when I find him. Satsuki yelled, shaking her head. No you won't. Because, you're weak, someone not even worth killing. That's all you'll ever be, weak and pathetic. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shouted Satsuki trying to block her out. You'll always be weak unless you have more power. Take the power, take it, accept it, become far stronger than you ever could in Konoha. Come to me, embrace what you claim to be, become an avenger. The Ravenette's eyes slowly opened and looked at her younger self, only to see her now smiling darkly with golden eyes with slit pupils and black flame markings slowly spreading across her body. Come, Satsuki, accept the power I have given you. Become so much more, and you will kill Itachi. Naruto's mindscape. Look, it's that boy. He's the reason the Yondaime is dead. Don't go near him, that boy is dangerous. What are you doing here? You plague. What a nuisance. He's so unpleasant. Shut up. I'm not a nuisance or a plague. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto yelled as he tried running from the whispers and voices, only for them to keep following him. There you see him. It's that boy. I heard he's the only who failed. HMPH. Well, it serves him right. Just imagine what would happen if he became a ninja. I mean, he's the boy who. Shish. We're not allowed to talk about that. Why? I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything, said Naruto, falling to his hands and knees, wiping his eyes as he felt himself becoming smaller. This is a waste of time, Naruto. Even though you're the one who screws up, we're the ones that pay for it. Honestly, are you trying to make us all hate you? Just return to your seat and we'll continue. This guy's such an idiot, it's pathetic. But still hilarious. All you're doing is interrupting our lesson. You're wasting the time of everyone here and becoming an annoyance. Don't bother with this kid. Naruto, you're annoying. Now leave me alone. Please, stop, Naruto said, only seeing shadowy figures all around him, turning their backs on him, leaving him alone. Hey, Naruto looked up in surprise at hearing his own voice, suddenly finding himself in his apartment, seeing a younger him and the Sandaime Hokage. Why don't I have a Ka-san and two san? Did I tell you before? Although it was quite a long time ago. That's not what I want to hear. You're talking about when that beast called the Kyuubi attacked, right? Well, that's not what I'm asking about. I just want to know, who are my parents? What kind of people were they? There's no use asking about that. It won't bring the dead back. Old man, Naruto thought in shock, not believing the Sandaime had actually said something like that to him when all he wanted to was who his parents were, what they were like. But he wouldn't even give him that, only saying it wouldn't bring back the dead. Are you really surprised? When has that old monkey ever done anything to help us? Naruto blinked when he saw his younger self was now looking directly at him, only he now had solid red eyes and black sclera. He never told us why we were hated. It took a traitor for us to finally learn about the Kyuubi. He never helped us in the academy, even knowing about the Kyuubi and how the teachers hated us. While we failed 3 times for not being able to use the clone jutsu, someone that can't use ninjutsu or genjutsu at all can simply pass without any trouble. And our parents, the most we got is that they're dead and he wouldn't even tell us if they cared. We are just a tool to him and the rest of Konoha. Stop it, said Naruto, covering his ears, not wanting hear any of this. Why? You know it's true, I know it's true, even that Kunoichi knows it's true. The Hokage doesn't care about us beyond how useful we are. Why should we care to do anything for him or this village, when they've never done anything for us? These people want to hate and fear us, then why not give them a reason to be scared? Show them all the monster they already see us as, become what they always feared we were, become a demon. The Uzumaki then saw his younger self smirk wickedly as black claw markings began spreading across his body. No, I won't, I'll prove everyone wrong. And then they'll see me as Naruto Uzumaki, not the Kyuubi, or a monster, or a demon, only me. Naruto yelled, shaking his head, refusing to become what the villagers already saw him as. But you know I'm right, which is why, you won't stop this. Naruto's younger self then suddenly turned into black smoke-like energy that rushed towards Naruto and engulfed him, making the whiskered blonde scream as the darkness began merging with him. Real world. Sakura moved to wipe Naruto's and Satsuki's foreheads, growing more worried when she felt how much warmer they were getting. Before the Pinkett to gasp in shock and concern when she looked at Naruto, only to see his skin was beginning to turn pale. No, 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 no. Please don't be dead or dying. Sakura thought, panicking that Naruto could potentially be dying right now. Only feeling relief at seeing he wasn't dying when his hair suddenly began fading from its bright blonde color to pitch black. With Sakura also being confused at why Naruto's hair color had changed before she looked at the curse seal of hell. What are these things? Sakura thought while moving to get a closer look at it, trying to figure out just what it is and what it's doing to the Uzumaki. Though unknown to Sakura, she was currently being watched by Team Dosu up in a tree, the three Oto ninja hiding in the branches and leaves to avoid being spotted. We finally found you, Dosu said, pleased that they were able to find Satsuki. Alright, just as Orochimaru-sama ordered, we'll attack at daybreak, said Dosu, making Zaku scoff in annoyance. I don't know why we have to wait, we could just kill her right now while they're asleep, Zaku said, believing they could take the Uchiha out right now, and risk springing any traps they set up while they sleep. Or what if they're expecting an ambush in the middle of the night? No, it'll be safer to strike when they're waking up, their guards won't be up and we won't have to worry about any traps or surprises. And don't forget, the Uchiha is our only target, the others are inconsequential, said Dosu, knowing they'll be in trouble just for killing Konoha's last Uchiha. They didn't need to deal with the pressure of killing their genin. But we can still kill them if they get in our way, right? Said Zaku eagerly, hoping for the chance to kill more than just Satsuki and show how powerful Otogaku really is. Of course, if they get in our way then they'll be dealt with, Dosu said, given they won't let anything get in the way of their objective, even if it means killing more than just Satsuki. While her teammates were discussing on how they should go about completing their mission to kill Satsuki, Kin was thinking of how to complete her own mission. There's no way I can let them kill Satsuki or even attack those three. It'll blow any chance I have of earning that kid's trust and get close to him. I also can't just turn on them if they attack, it'd look suspicious as to why I'd suddenly turn on my teammates to help an enemy team. And I can't say anything about my missions as they'll probably blow it for me. What I need to do is find a way to get close to him, without him or his teammates worrying about me planning to attack and steal their scroll, thought Kin before glancing at Dosu and Zaku, realizing what she needs to do to ensure they don't try attacking or killing Satsuki while also making sure Team 7 didn't see her as a threat. Orochimaru-sama said I needed to get close to that Naruto kid by any means necessary, so, sorry, not sorry, Kin thought while slowly moving behind Zaku and Dosu as she pulled out some of her bell-less Senbon to avoid them hearing anything. Not feeling any remorse or guilt for what she's about to do. Given the only reason they were a team at all is because they were put together for the sake of their mission to kill Satsuki and the upcoming invasion. And now that the mission is no longer her concern, neither is if she has to kill them to fulfill her new orders. Before the Ravenet immediately began throwing multiple Senbon into the back of their heads and the base of their necks, ensuring that if they didn't instantly die, they wouldn't be able to stop her from finishing them off. With Kin only stopping once Zaku and Dosu both collapsed onto the branch unmoving, before she cut their throats just to be on the safe side. Now, how do I go about approaching them? Kin thought while looking down at where Team 7 was, contemplating how she'll approach them, while also coming up with a fake story to explain how her teammates died. With Orochimaru, Kin certainly is dedicated to her new mission. Orochimaru thought after watching Kin murder her teammates, via one of his snake summons. Having sent one to keep an eye on Team Dosu to make sure Kin did go through with his orders in getting close to Naruto. Seeing if she would or if he'd need to depend on only to Yuya getting close to the Uzumaki. It seems that will be handled, while dear Anko will soon be informing Sarutobi-sensei what will happen if the exams are cancelled. As well as how Satsuki now has my mark. Thought Orochimaru, having just finished dealing with his former student. Finding it laughable that she thought she could kill him using a jutsu he taught her before giving her his message to give to the Hokage, though he didn't mention how he'd also marked Naruto as well. Knowing that Sarutobi would guess he's only after Satsuki to gain her Sharingan while having no idea of his plans for Naruto at all. Though it is disappointing that I won't learn how Naruto and Satsuki handle the curse seals, now that Dosu and Zaku are dead. But perhaps there's another team to direct towards them. Orochimaru thought, smirking as he began sensing for another team. Only to be surprised when he suddenly sensed a large and powerful chakra signature nearby, not enough for them to be a Jonin or Anbu. But it's far greater than any normal Genin, even greater than a Chunin's chakra reserves. It seems I've found the perfect team. Thought Orochimaru, heading in the direction of the chakra signature, feeling intrigued at how a Genin could possess so much chakra. It didn't take long before Orochimaru arrived at the location of the signature, finding another Kusa team, ignoring the first two members while the third one surprised the Snake Sanin. They were a 13-year-old girl with fair, pale skin, and crimson eyes, with narrow, brown glasses. With her attire consisting of a mesh shirt and stockings, a purple skirt, a light brown short-sleeved jacket with an orange stripe going across the chest, and black sandals. She also had the Kusagakure headband on her forehead. But what really had Orochimaru's focus was her shoulder-length crimson-red hair, a color found in only a single clan. In Uzumaki, in Kusa. Now this is very interesting. Orochimaru thought, smiling darkly. Seeing this will prove even more beneficial than sending any regular team to test Naruto and Satsuki. There's someone here, said the Uzumaki before looking directly at Orochimaru with wide eyes, making the Snake Sanin's smile grow. And she's a sensor as well, a rather powerful one if she can still sense me even while suppressing my chakra. Thought Orochimaru before jumping down in front of the Kusa team. Enjoying the sight of their expressions turning into ones of fear as they soon recognized him, along with noticing how the two boys seemed to be stepping behind the Uzumaki. As if they intended to use her as a shield or even sacrifice her to try and escape. Well now, what do we have here? 3 lost little Kusa Genin, alone in such a dangerous forest. What a shame if something terrible were to happen to you 3. Said Orochimaru, smiling wickedly at them, only increasing the Genin's fear before one of them drew their sword. Back off. Said the Genin, pointing his sword at Orochimaru, which only amused the Sanin. Oh, are you brave enough to try and fight one of the Sanin? Then are you prepared to be killed by a Sanin? Orochimaru asked as his eyes widened with a mad gleam as he began releasing his killing intent, causing the Genin to become paralyzed in fear. I've already killed one Kusa team, I believe their leader was named Shior. Yes, they died screaming as I took their face for myself. I wonder if you 3 will scream. Said Orochimaru before the other Genin pulled out an earth scroll. Wait. Place please. Here, take our earth scroll and we'll leave. Just don't hurt us. Begged the Genin, making Orochimaru chuckle cruelly. HM. And what makes you think I care about your scroll? After all, I'm not a participant in these exams, so it would be useless to me. Orochimaru said, noticing how they then seemed to look at their Uzumaki teammate, making him wonder if they would try offering her up next. But perhaps I can be of some assistance. While there's no doubt you 3 will fail the exams, that doesn't mean you need to return to your village in disgrace," said Orochimaru, making them regard him warily. Why would you he help us?" questioned the sword-wielding genin. "Why does anyone do anything? Boredom, entertainment, for fun. It could be for any number of reasons. What you should be asking is, are you interested in what I have to say?" Orochimaru asked with a smirk. While the two male genin looked at each other, the Uzumaki didn't take her eyes off the Sannin. "Smart girl, she's the only one not looking away," thought Orochimaru, knowing how foolish it is to take your eyes off a dangerous enemy. What DD do you have to offer?" the second genin asked, making Orochimaru's smirk widen. "I'm sure you saw that orange-wearing genin at the start of the exams, the one that enjoys talking and taunting people. What if I told you that boy is an Uzumaki as well?" Orochimaru said, seeing how the two genin perked up while the girl's eyes widened. The snake Sannin, seeing a spark of hope in her eyes, hoped that she likely had a living relative, guessing that she's an orphan. Before he took notice of the bite marks on her arms and legs. "Ah, so that's why Kusa has an Uzumaki. They're using her chakra and life force to heal their injured ninja. If I had to guess, at least one of her parents was an Uzumaki and they used them for the same purpose, likely killing them in the process from transferring too much chakra to wounded ninja. So they used the daughter for the same purpose," thought Orochimaru, mentally scoffing at such foolishness. They had two of the last remaining Uzumaki in the world only to kill one of them and will more than likely end up killing the second one as well. Ignoring how a living Uzumaki was far more valuable beyond just being used as a chakra battery to heal injuries. But it seems they only see the immediate benefits, ignoring the use she could have in the long run. They'd likely do the same thing to Naruto as well, Orochimaru thought, feeling morbidly curious of the reaction anyone that bites him would have from absorbing the Kyuubi's chakra. More than likely they end up burning themselves alive by introducing the Biju's chakra into their chakra networks that isn't suited for such corrosive chakra. But more than that, one of his teammates is one of the last Uchiha in the world. And at the moment, both of them are too injured to so much as defend themselves. Imagine bringing such prizes back to Kusagakure, a second Uzumaki and an Uchiha with the Sharingan awakened. You would be hailed as heroes for bringing such assets to your village," said Orochimaru, knowing he had them by the greedy and excited looks on the two genin's faces. "Where are they?" the second genin said, eager for the chance to bring such prizes back to Kusa, knowing they'll be promoted to Chunin for sure. "They're currently hiding in a hollowed-out tree in that direction. You'll know it when you see it," Orochimaru said, pointing towards where Team 7 currently was. "Right. Bakamaru, Karen, let's go now. We have better prizes to win," said the genin, motioning the two to follow him. "Shiguri, are you sure we should trust him? What if it's just a..." Karen said, not really trusting what Orochimaru was telling them, sensing that while he's telling the truth, he's not telling them everything. But more than that, no matter how desperate and hopeful she was at the idea of meeting another Uzumaki, she'd never want one of her clansmen to suffer the same fate she and her mother have. Only for the redhead to flinch when Shiguri grabbed her arm and glared at her. "Shut it. You aren't going to mess this up for us or for Kusa. The only thing you'll do is make sure we have plenty of chakra," Shiguri said before biting Karen to refill his chakra reserves, making her wince, before Bakamaru grabbed her other arm. "Yeah, so just shut up and don't get in our way," said Bakamaru, biting her as well to refill his chakra. Before the two jumped away to where Team 7 was, while Karen rubbed her arms before following after them. The snake Sannin watched them go with a smirk, neither of the genin realizing he's sending them straight to their deaths. Before he scoffed at what one of their names. "Bakamaru, Kusagakure really is filled with nothing but idiots and fools," thought Orochimaru, not even surprised that one of them had a name like that. Though Orochimaru soon smirked, knowing this wouldn't only provide an opportunity to test Naruto and Satsuki to see how they adapt to the curse seals. along with a way to reveal the existence of the Uzumaki clan to Naruto and begin having him grow disillusioned with Konoha. But also being able to confirm another theory he's had about Yuya. Given with her own red hair, higher than average chakra reserves, stamina and endurance, as well as how out of all the sound force she was able to learn and master the Kekai ninjutsu he taught them the quickest. Especially with how similar certain Kekai ninjutsu are to Fuinjutsu, with others even including the use of seals. Orochimaru had suspected Yuya of being descended from the Uzumaki clan. Something he suspected since she joined Otogaku after he recruited her from the Shin clan. Having been famous within the Land of Rice before Orochimaru took over and renamed it the Land of Sound. With all the skilled members joining Otogaku, reducing those that hadn't joined into nothing more than a group of bandits, including Yuya who'd already mastered their sound-based ninjutsu and genjutsu. As well as their memory blocking technique, allowing her to erase a person's memory causing amnesia. It was due to her already being a talented ninja and his suspicions of her being descended from the Uzumaki clan that lead Orochimaru to giving her a curse seal and a place as one of his bodyguards. Unfortunately, he hasn't gotten around to really confirming if she's an Uzumaki or not. But now he'll be able to confirm it once he sends her to get close to Naruto, seeing how she compares to him and Karen, two confirmed Uzumaki. This is truly turning out more beneficial than I originally anticipated, thought Orochimaru, smirking wickedly as he sunk into the ground, eager to see how things will begin unfolding. Later with Sakura, Sakura yawned as she rubbed her eyes, feeling tired after staying up all night, but she couldn't risk going to sleep. Not when she needed to look after Naruto and Satsuki. Not to mention, making sure that they wouldn't be left defenseless. Otherwise all of them will end up dead if another team shows up or anything else in the forest that'd want to kill them. It doesn't look like anything's changed. But at least it looks like their fevers are going down, so that's good at least. Thought Sakura after checking her teammates, seeing they weren't burning up anymore, much to her relief. Unfortunately, they still seemed to be shaking and in pain from those marks, which still concerned her at what was happening to them. Ha, what kind of lookout is this? Just some stupid girl, someone said, making Sakura tense as her eyes widened before she quickly turned around and pulled out a kunai. Seeing Shigure, Bakamaru and Karen standing across from the hollowed-out tree, making the Pinkett scowl at seeing more Kusa ninja. Are they working with Orochimaru? Sakura thought, not sure if they knew Orochimaru had been disguised as a Kusa ninja and were working with him or not. Let's just hurry up and kill her. The sooner we get those two back to Kusa the better, said Bakamaru, smirking eagerly as he drew his sword while Sakura's eyes widened. They're going to try kidnapping Naruto and Satsuki, thought Sakura, angry that they would try kidnapping her teammates, something she refused to let happen. Wait, Shigure said, stopping Bakamaru before he could move forward. You're not only a pathetic excuse for a lookout, but you can't even hide a trap right. The color of the dirt shows it's been recently dug up and this grass doesn't grow in a place like this. I'd say next time you set a trap, actually try hiding it. But there won't be a next time, Pinky, said Shigure before he and Bakamaru jumped into the air over Sakura's trap. HMPH, who said that was the real one? Sakura asked, smirking as she cut a wire, causing a giant log to swing down towards the two ninja, much to their shock. What? Another trap, said Bakamaru, not expecting a second trap above them. That still won't work, trash. Fire style. Running fire, said Shigure, going through hand signs before releasing a stream of fire that impacted the log, burning right through it, shocking the Pinkett at her trap being destroyed. Ha, like we'd fall for something that basic. Now time to die, you worthless excuse for a ninja, Bakamaru said, raising his sword to bring it down on Sakura, much to her fear that she was going to die. But before either of them could attack Sakura, they heard the sound of bells ringing before crying out when several Senbons suddenly impaled them. With both ninja then dropping to the ground and holding their ears, feeling their heads ringing from the bells. Don't ever ask for whom the bell tolls, because it tolls for thee, said Kin, jumping down in front of Sakura with a smirk, shocking the Pinkett further. You, Sakura said, scowling at the sight of one of the Oto ninja, though was confused at why she's here and helping them. Why the hell are you helping an enemy? Demanded Shigure, glaring at Kin before gritting his teeth when she rang her bells again, causing him and Bakamaru to begin hallucinating several copies of her. What can I say? I really hate trash that likes to think they're tough. It's so much fun showing them how weak they really are, said Kin, pulling out more Senbon and throwing them at the ninja, only for them to use a substitution jutsu to escape. Hey, why are you helping us? Is this some kind of game Orochimaru is playing? And what are those marks he put on Naruto's and Satsuki's necks? Demanded Sakura, glaring at Kin suspiciously, only for the Ravenet to raise a brow at her. What the hell are you talking about? Why would I know anything about a Sannin? Kin asked, playing dumb at knowing anything about Orochimaru. Don't act like you don't know. He was wearing an Oto headband before he bit Satsuki, so I know he's connected to your village. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he's your village's leader. So what's he planning? Sakura said. Look, I swear I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never even seen, let alone met, Oto's leader. The closest me or my teammates have gotten is meeting their guards, who give out their orders, that's it. As for whatever marks are on your teammates, I don't know anything about that, replied Kin while subtly channeling chakra into her voice, casting a sound-based genjutsu to help make Sakura believe her. Though she was genuinely confused about whatever marks Orochimaru put on them, having no idea what they were, but figured they were part of Orochimaru's plan. While Sakura frowned at her words, seeing the Ravenet did look confused at what she's talking about and didn't hear any sign of deceit on her voice either. She really doesn't seem to know anything, and she says she's never seen or met Oto's leader, only their bodyguards giving out their orders. Does that mean Orochimaru's a shadow leader in Oto, hiding behind someone else? Sakura thought, unsure what to think before she quickly shook her head, knowing now wasn't the time to think about it. Fine, but don't think this means I trust you, Sakura said, making Kin scoff. I don't really care if you trust me or not. But how about a thank you for saving your life? Unless you were more worried about your makeup getting ruined, said Kin, much to the Pinkett's annoyance. I don't wear makeup, said Sakura, only for Kin to look her up and down. Could have fooled me, you barely even look like a kunoichi. I bet you spend more time looking in the mirror making sure you look so pretty and perfect than you do training yourself, Kin said, being able to tell just by looking at Sakura she focused a lot on her appearance, even just looking at her hair she could see the Pinkett took great care of it. I train just as much as anyone else, Sakura retorted, taking incentive to her words. Sure you do, said Kin, rolling her eyes, annoying the Pinkett further. I think both of you are pathetic kunoichi if you can't even focus on a fight. Earth style. Earth flow spears. Shigure shouted, slamming his hands on the ground, causing multiple stone spikes to shoot up towards Sakura and Kin, forcing both kunoichi to jump out of the way. Oh, I was focused. I just don't see a reason to worry about such weaklings, Kin said, smirking as she threw several senbon at Shigure, with the Kusa ninja gritting his teeth at the sound of the bells before quickly jumping out of the way. Let's see you hit me when you're stupid enough to screamed Shigure when several senbon stabbed into his body, having not expected them when he didn't hear any bells. You were saying trash? Kin questioned mockingly as she threw more senbon at him, much to Shigure's anger. I'm gonna enjoy killing you, bitch. Wind style. Breakthrough, Shigure said, going through hand signs before unleashing a gust of wind that blew away the senbon, while Kin quickly channeled chakra to her feet to avoid being blown away. Ooh, I'm so scared of someone that's being turned into a pin cushion, Kin said with a taunting smirk before pulling on the wire attached to her bells, casting her genjutsu, making Shigure cry out and cover his ears. Meanwhile, Sakura had landed on the ground after avoiding the stone spikes before her eyes widened when she sensed Bakamaru behind her. "I've got you now, you stupid bitch," Bakamaru said wickedly as he brought his sword down, slicing right through Sakura, only to scowl when the pinkett was replaced by a log. "Over here," Sakura said, charging at Bakamaru before throwing a kunai at him, making the Kusa ninja scoff before deflecting it with his sword. "I'd say do better, but I wouldn't expect anything better from such a weakling," Bakamaru said, rushing towards Sakura, while the pinkett went through hand signs. "Clone jutsu," said Sakura, creating two clones that ran alongside her, which only annoyed Bakamaru. "Cheap illusions won't work on me," said Bakamaru, throwing two kunai through the clones, causing them to fade away. Before he then slashed at Sakura with his sword, only for the pinkett to use a substitution jutsu again, annoying Bakamaru further. "Behind you now," Sakura said, appearing behind Bakamaru with a kunai in hand, with him spinning around and stabbing her, only to once again replace herself with a log. "Stop running and die already, you coward," Bakamaru yelled, now getting angry at the repeated substitutions. "If you insist," Sakura said from above Bakamaru, making the Kusa ninja scoff. "I'm not falling for that stupid trick again," Bakamaru said, throwing a kunai at Sakura before looking around for where she'd appear from next, intent to kill her when she tried attacking again. Only for Bakamaru to scream in pain when a kunai slashed him across his arm while Sakura landed on top of him. "You wanted me to stop running. So here I am," Sakura said, punching Bakamaru in the face, making him cry out again at feeling his nose break. She didn't use another substitution, Bakamaru thought, seeing the kunai he threw at Sakura stabbed in her shoulder, not expecting her to actually let herself be hit, making him think she'd use the substitution jutsu again. Before the Kusa ninja shouted in anger and slammed his fist into Sakura's head, knocking her off of him, letting him stand up. "You bitch. I'm gonna cut you into pika," Bakamaru screamed when Sakura lunged forward and bit his arm before he could raise his sword to slice her. With the pinkett biting down hard on him, refusing to let go even when he began punching her repeatedly in the head. Even she began feeling blood dripping down her face. Sakura didn't let go, instead biting down even harder, making Bakamaru scream in pain. "Let's see how like this," thought Sakura, gripping her kunai tightly. "You bitch. I'm gonna rip out every one of your teeth and make you choke," yelled Bakamaru, only to gag in pure agony when Sakura stabbed her kunai straight into his stomach. "Now who's the bitch?" Sakura said, letting go of Bakamaru's arm as he stumbled back holding a hand to his stomach. Bitch. Wind style. Air bullets," Shigure shouted, releasing multiple bullets of air that slammed into Sakura, sending her skidding across the ground. Sakura gritted her teeth at the pain of the air bullets slamming into her, before someone grabbed her, stopping her from hitting the ground further. "Okay, maybe you aren't just a doll playing dress up," stated Kin, nodding in approval at seeing what Sakura did to Bakamaru, not expecting the pinkett to go that far. "Thanks, I guess," Sakura said as she stood up shakily before looking at the Kusa ninja. Seeing Shigure was supporting Bakamaru, while having multiple senbon sticking out of his body and blood leaking out of his ears. While Bakamaru looked like he wouldn't last much longer with the stab wound. HMPH, it's almost sad killing them in such pathetic states, almost. Kin said, pulling out more senbon to finish them off, making Shigure scowl in anger. "We're gonna make both of you beg for death. Karen, get out here, you stupid bitch, and heal us," yelled Shigure, intending make both Kunoichi suffer. Right, Karen said as she ran from her cover, having avoided getting caught in the fight given how she's not meant to get in the way and only heal them when she needs to. "I don't think so," said Kin, throwing her senbon at the redhead, refusing to let her try healing them. Only for Kin and Sakura to both be shocked when golden chains burst out of Karen's back, deflecting the senbon before they even got close her. Before the Ravenet and Pinkett quickly jumped back when the chains came rushing at them. What the hell kind of jutsu is that? Kin thought, wondering what kind of jutsu created chains like this. Those chains are coming out her back, are they made of chakra? Sakura thought in disbelief, seeing how many chains there are and how long they were, wondering just how much chakra the redhead had to make them. He here, said Karen, reaching her teammates and holding out her arm, only to flinch when Shigure forcefully grabbed her and exposed her shoulder. Bite now, Shigure said to Bakamaru, with him immediately lunging forward and biting down on Karen's shoulder, with the Uzumaki biting back a scream at how deeply he was biting her. With it only getting worse when Shigure bit her other shoulder as well, making Karen feel tears in her eyes at the pain and how much chakra they were taking. While the sight shocked Sakura and Kin further that they were biting their teammate, even more so when they saw their injuries beginning to heal. What the hell? Kin said, not believing what was happening. Their wounds are healing, said Sakura with wide eyes before Shigure and Bakamaru tossed Karen aside, smirking wickedly at now being completely healed. That's right, and we're even stronger now. Fire style. Demon Lantern. Shigure said, going through hand signs before creating multiple fireballs that looked like floating ghosts, with all of the fireballs then rushing towards Sakura and Kin. Seeing the fireballs coming at them, the two kunoichi immediately jumped away. You aren't getting away that easily. Wind style. Divine Wind. Said Bakamaru, going through hand signs and creating several small tornadoes that all moved to surround Sakura and Kin. With the sudden appearance of the tornadoes throwing Sakura and Kin back, just as the demon lanterns reached them, before they all began exploding in large fireballs. The fire growing even more intense due to the tornadoes, leaving both girls trapped in a massive fiery hurricane. Ha 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 ha. Yes, burn you worthless weaklings, burn. Bakamaru said eagerly, wanting to see their charred corpses. That's what you get for messing with ninja from Kusagaker. Said Shigure, smirking cruelly at making them suffer. Only for the two to scowl in anger when the flames soon died down, revealing two burned logs, while Sakura and Kin appeared. Both of them having used a substitution before they burned to death, but didn't escape unscathed. How the hell are you two healed? Kin demanded, scowling at how they managed to not only heal their wounds, but got even more chakra. That's thanks to our personal chakra battery. All we have to do is bite her and take her chakra, then any wounds we have will be instantly healed, along with refilling our chakra reserves. Said Shigure, shocking the two while looking at Karen, who was fixing her jacket to cover her shoulders. But she's your teammate. Why would you take her chakra just to heal yourselves? Said Sakura, not believing they'd just take her chakra to heal themselves and weaken her. She's nothing but a battery to heal the real Kusa ninja that matter, that's all she's good for. And she should be grateful that Kusa even lets an outsider like her stay in the village. Bakamaru said, making Karen flinch while Sakura and Kin scowled. As despite feeling no remorse about killing her own teammates, that was more due to them not having a sense of camaraderie for each other to begin with. Hell, they didn't even know each other before they were assigned together for the Chunin exams. If she had found herself captured and taken hostage by enemy ninja, Kin wouldn't be surprised if they attacked and killed her alongside their enemies. In Oto, it was survival of the fittest, where the weak have no choice but to be subservient to the strong. Making those you can genuinely trust and call friend all the more valued, as a certain flute-wielding redhead flashed through her mind. I'll enjoy killing you two even more, now. Kin said before throwing multiple Senbon at Shigure and Bakamaru. The only ones dying are you trash. Wind style. Flower scattering dance. Shigure said, going through hand signs as he created a large cyclone of flower petals, directing it at the two kunoichi while blowing away the Senbon. Seeing the cyclone coming at them, Sakura and Kin quickly jumped away only to cry out in pain when Bakamaru rushed behind them, slicing both of them across the back with his sword. What did you say before? Now who's the bitch? Why don't you start begging like one? Said Bakamaru before slamming his foot into Sakura's head, sending the Pinkett crashing into Kin. Before the two were then sent flying by the petal cyclone, sending them crashing into a tree, grunting in pain when they fell to the ground. Earth style. Earth flow wave, said Shigure, making a hand sign as he created a wave of earth and rode it towards Sakura and Kin. Earth style. Earth flow river. Bakamaru said, going through hand signs before slamming his hands on the ground, turning the ground beneath the two kunoichi into mud, sending them sliding straight towards the earth wave. With Sakura and Kin only able to cry out as the wave came crashing down on top of them, the rocks smashing into their bodies as they were buried. The sight making Shigure and Bakamaru laugh, happy at finally killing the two kunoichi, even better that they buried them alive. Now, let's go get Kusa's new tools, Shigure said, smirking as he and Bakamaru went to grab Naruto and Satsuki. Hey, shouted Sakura, making both ninja stop and scowl in anger to see they were both still alive, having used substitution to escape again. Though Sakura and Kin were panting heavily and were covered in wounds and blood, having just barely escaped being crushed by the rocks. Feeling that while they escaped, they could feel some bones were cracked, if not broken, from the impact of the rocks. You aren't getting near Naruto or Satsuki, Sakura said, refusing to let them take her teammates, even if she could barely stand at the moment. Yeah, don't think a few rocks are enough to kill us. Unless you're scared, knowing we could still kick your taunted Kin, hoping that she could at least get them close enough for her to cast a genjutsu, leaving them open to finish. Their words only angered Shigure and Bakamaru further, not only with how they refused to die but believed they could insult them when they were stronger. We won't even need to try to kill weaklings, like you, said Bakamaru, wanting to simply cut them into pieces. But if neither of you are willing to just die, then maybe we'll just find something else to do with you, Shigure said with a sick smirk, making Bakamaru stop and soon smirk as well. While Sakura's and Kin's eyes widened at his words, with it not being hard to realize what he meant and what they intended to do. Try it and I'll feed you your own eyes, Kin said, glaring murderously at them. Wind style. Breakthrough, said Shigure, unleashing a powerful gust of wind that sent Sakura and Kin flying through the air and crashing into a tree. The two grunted at the impact before they tried getting up, only to scream in pain when Shigure and Bakamaru ran over and began kicking them repeatedly. You won't do anything but lie there and take it. That's all trash like you is good for anyway, learning your place is under real ninja, Shigure said cruelly, slamming his foot into the back of Kin's head, smashing her face into the ground. GGUGU guys, AARARAR aren't why yo-yo you going a little far. They're beaten, we can just said Karen, only to scream when Bakamaru backhanded her. Shut it or you'll join them. At least then you'll have another use to give Kusa more batteries to use and heal us. Bakamaru sneered, with the redhead shaking in fear at the idea. Now to take our rewards, said Shigure as they went to tear off their clothes, much to Sakura's and even Kin's fear at what they were about to do. Luckily for the kunoichi, before either ninja could even touch them, all of them froze at a sudden dark and overwhelming pressure washing over them. With Karen shaking even further at being able to sense the chakra filled with nothing but darkness. What kind of chakra is this? Karen thought, terrified at feeling chakra so dark. Before everyone looked for the source of the pressure only to see something happening to Naruto and Satsuki. With the Uchiha radiating dark purple chakra off her body, while the Uzumaki was surrounded by crimson red and pure black chakra. What's happening? Sakura thought, worried at what's happening to her teammates. This power, is this from those marks Orochimaru-sama gave them? Thought Kin, looking at the two with wide eyes, feeling like she's standing before the snake Sanin with how wicked the chakra felt. What is this? What's happening? Demanded Shigure while glaring at Sakura and Kin, wanting to know what's going on. Only to be silenced when Naruto and Satsuki began getting up, with the chakra becoming more intense and swirling around them. The five soon seeing the glowing markings spreading over their bodies, with flame-like markings covering the left half of Satsuki's body, while spiraling claw markings covered the right side of Naruto's body. Satsuki's Sharingan was also activated, while Naruto's eyes were blood red with slit pupils while his sclera was now pitch black color. The two stepped out of the hollowed-out tree, looking around before spotting Sakura on the ground beside Kin with Shigure and Bakamaru standing over them. Naruto saw Satsuki. Sakura said in disbelief, relieved to see they're awake, but worried about what's happened to them. Sakura, who did this to you? Questioned Satsuki, wanting to know who hurt their teammate. What's happened to you? Said Sakura, with Naruto and Satsuki looking at themselves and markings now covering their bodies. Don't worry, we're alright. In fact, I've never felt better. Naruto replied with a dark, fanged smirk, having never felt stronger than he did right now. Yeah, I can feel power flowing through me, it's more than I could ever imagine. That man, he gave us this power, this gift. Satsuki said, finally understanding what she is with this power. She's an Avenger, a path she needs power to walk, no matter what that power was, even if it meant being consumed by evil. Now Sakura, tell us, which one of these trash did this? Said Satsuki, feeling eager to test her new power on whoever hurt the Pinkett. That'd be us. Bakamaru said smirking cruelly, shaking off the earlier shock at their sudden awakening the feeling they were giving off. Only for the Kusa ninja to unconsciously step back when Satsuki's eyes snapped towards him and Shigure. You too, you hurt Sakura? Demanded Naruto lowly before narrowing his eyes at Karen, noticing the bite marks on her body, including the fresh ones on her shoulders. And what about her? Naruto said, wanting to know why it looked like their own teammate was the only one injured. What about her? She's only here to make sure we get healed and have plenty of chakra. And after what we took from her, we have plenty to deal with you too. Said Shigure, confident they can handle them with the chakra they took from Karen. This made Naruto and Satsuki narrow their eyes, seeing they hadn't just hurt their teammate, but have abused their own as well. With the curse seal markings glowing a fiery orange as they spread further over their bodies, making the chakra swirling around them intensify. Then before either Kusa ninja could react, Satsuki appeared between them slamming her fists into their faces, sending Shigure and Bakamaru flying in opposite directions. With Bakamaru gagging and coughing up blood as he smashed into a tree. Before suddenly Naruto appeared in front of him, grabbing his jaw tightly and holding him in the air. Let's see you try biting anything now. Said Naruto smiling darkly before yanking Bakamaru's jaw down, tearing away the skin and muscle until it was simply hanging by one joint. Bakamaru could only let out a muffled scream of pure agony at feeling his jaw hanging limply from his head, before he doubled over when Naruto slamming his fist into his gut, causing the Kusa ninja to begin puking up blood, feeling several of his ribs shatter from the punch. What's happening? Naruto would never do something like that. Sakura thought in horror at what the Uzumaki just did. Her horror only growing when Naruto forced Bakamaru to stand up, before viciously smashing his foot into knees, snapping both of his legs in half, with the bones sticking out behind his legs. Before she then looked at Satsuki when she heard Shigure crying out in pain, only to see the Uchiha had forced Shigure down to his knees and was pulling his arms back behind him. You put your hands on my teammate and your own, I think it's only fair that I should relieve you of them. Said Satsuki, smiling cruelly as she began squeezing Shigure's wrists tightly before bending them, the boy crying out in complete pain as his wrists were snapped. Only for Satsuki to not stop there as she began bending his arms at the elbows, making Shigure scream even louder at feeling his arms being forcefully bent at the wrong angle. Until soon his arms were snapped in half. Please stop. Let me go, please. I'll leave, just let me go. Shigure cried in horror and fear at what's already happened to his teammate and what's happened to him. Let you go? Very poor choice of words. Satsuki said before she began pulling Shigure's arms, causing his eyes to widen in horror. No, 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 do-ah, begged Shigure, only to soon scream in complete and utter agony when Satsuki cruelly ripped his arms right off his body, letting him fall to the ground. There, I let you go, said Satsuki, dropping his severed arms while Shigure cried at the pain and loss of his arms. Kin thought in disbelief, becoming very thankful for the new mission Orochimaru gave her and the bullet she dodged in going against these two. There's no healing that, thought Karen, not even realizing she was smiling at seeing two of her tormentors being brutally ripped apart. Before they then saw Naruto drag Bakamaru over to Satsuki and Shigure, the former blonde smiling wickedly. Give some fools some false power and they believe themselves invincible, take it away and they'll be exposed for the pathetic, sniveling pieces of meat they really are. Satsuki, since they like biting their teammates so much, let's see how they like getting bit, said Naruto, making the Uchiha gain a wicked smile as well, grabbing Shigure and lifting him up to his knees. Yes, let's, Satsuki said, as Naruto held Bakamaru's severed jaw around Shigure's neck, with both boys only able to cry. Now, swallow, Naruto said before slamming Bakamaru's jaw around Shigure's neck, causing Shigure to begin gurgling as blood filled his mouth. The Uzumaki pressed Bakamaru's jaw down tightly as he began tearing through Shigure's neck, before he then ripped Bakamaru away, ripping away a large part of Shigure's throat in the process, with Satsuki letting his body fall to the ground. With Naruto then stabbing his hand right through Bakamaru's chest, bursting out the other side with his heart in his hand. I don't think they liked it very much, Satsuki stated as Naruto pulled his hand out of Bakamaru's body, letting it fall to the ground. I guess not. Probably because they taste disgusting, said Naruto, smirking while tossing the heart aside as the female Ravenet laughed. This isn't like Naruto or Satsuki, they're not like this, Sakura thought, refusing to believe these were her teammates. Naruto, Satsuki, please stop, just stop, it's over. Please, please no more. Just, please stop, begged Sakura with tears in her eyes, causing Naruto's and Satsuki's heads to snap towards her, only to freeze at the sight of the Pinkett looking at them pleadingly, tears streaming down her face at the sight of them, with the marks slowly receding from their bodies and back into their curse seals, taking away the strength they gave them, causing Naruto and Satsuki to collapse to the ground, panting heavily. What did we just do? Naruto said, looking at the bodies of Shigure and Bakamaru in shock and disbelief, along with feeling slight horror at their actions. You just killed twos that were going to rape and kill us, then take both of you to Kusagaku for their own benefit. I don't see any reason to be guilty, said Kin as she and Sakura shakily stood up, the adrenaline from the fight leaving them while their injuries and exhaustion fully hit them. Here, Karen said, holding out her arm for them, only for the two kunoichi to shake their heads. No, we aren't biting you. Not after they already did, said Sakura, refusing to bite someone just to heal herself. Yeah, you probably don't have much chakra left anyway, so don't worry about it, Kin said, not wanting to be like those two and take the redhead's chakra just to heal herself. Don't worry, I have plenty of chakra to spare. Besides, this is the first time I'm choosing to let someone bite me, so just, let me help, said Karen, wanting to help after what her now dead teammates did. Looking at the redhead and seeing how serious she was, Sakura and Kin reluctantly nodded before they bit her arm, with them immediately feeling the effects as their wounds began healing and their exhaustion faded away, while their chakra reserves were refilled. Thank you, Sakura said once they let go, grateful for the help, with Kin nodding in agreement. With Naruto and Satsuki being shocked at the sight of how quickly they were healed, before turning towards Kin, recognizing her as part of the Odo team they saw at the start of the exams. You're that Odo ninja from before the first exam. What are you doing here? And where's your teammates? Satsuki asked warily, wondering why she wasn't with her teammates, unless this was a trap. Dead. We were ambushed by an AIM team. Zaku and Dosu were killed while I barely managed to escape. Only being able to hold them off with my genjutsu long enough to get away. I was heading back to the gates since I clearly can't continue on, when I saw those Kusas attacking your teammate. So I figured I might as well try helping. Replied Kin, surprising Naruto and Satsuki. You'd help another team not from your village. Why? Questioned Satsuki, suspicious as to why she'd help an enemy team. They wares, needing to attack a single genin who barely looked she could stay awake. So I decided to even the odds. Besides, it couldn't hurt to try and make a good impression by helping save another team. Kin said with a shrug. Satsuki and Sakura still looked at her suspiciously. Given Orochimaru's ties to Oto made it difficult to tell if she's being sincere or it's a ploy. But they figured they could at least give her the benefit of the doubt since she did save their lives. Then we really owe you one for helping to protect Sakura and us. Thanks, said Naruto, smiling at the Ravenet, only to stop when he realized he didn't know her name. It's Kin Suchi. Kin introduced, making Naruto smile again and shake her hand. It's nice to meet you, Kin. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. These are Satsuki Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. And really, thanks for the help. Naruto replied, with the corners of Kin's mouth twitching up. He's way too trusting, Kin thought, knowing that'll make her mission easier. No problem, I'm glad I could lend a hand, said Kin, only to grow worried when Naruto frowned at her. Yeah, but I'm still angry at how your team attacked Kabuto before, said Naruto, still remembering how they attacked Kabuto just before the first stage began. Well, how else were we supposed to react? He insulted our village just because it's a new one and a small one. Wouldn't you be upset if someone just casually insulted Konoha without caring, like that? Kin asked, making the whiskered Ravenet frown. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Naruto muttered, knowing if anyone insulted Konoha he'd try attacking them too. Your hair looks good by the way, I think black suits you better than blonde, said Kin, admitting the black hair did look good. This made Naruto blink in confusion before touching his hair, his eyes widening when some of it fell in front of his eyes, seeing his hair was now black. What happened to my hair? Naruto said in shock at the sudden change in his hair color. It just suddenly changed while you were knocked out. I think that mark caused it, said Sakura, making Naruto look at her before touching his neck where the curse seal was, with Satsuki doing the same to her own. It does look good, I guess, Satsuki said, agreeing with Kin that Naruto did look good with black hair. Yeah, it helps give you a mysterious vibe. Plus, girls do like the mysterious bad boys, it also helps the whiskers are pretty cute, Kin said, winking at the whiskered Ravenet, causing him to blush slightly. Thanks, said Naruto, not expecting the compliment. What about you? Who are you? Questioned Satsuki, looking at Karen, burying her annoyance at Kin's seemingly flirtatious words. I'm Karen Uzumaki. Karen introduced, much to Team 7's shock. You Uzumaki? Naruto asked in shock and hope, wondering if it's possible they're related if they have the same last name. Why yeah, it's really nice to meet you. I've never been able to meet another Uzumaki besides my mother. So I'm really happy to meet another, said Karen, smiling at Naruto, happy she's really meeting another Uzumaki. It's really nice to meet you too, Karen, Naruto said as he began smiling, feeling overjoyed at learning he had a relative and getting to meet them. Another Uzumaki? You mean there are more? Sakura asked in disbelief, with Naruto feeling more hope at the chance there were other Uzumaki he could meet. There used to be a lot, an entire village of them. But, the Uzumaki clan was wiped out during the Second Great Ninja War. I don't even know if there are any others, Karen said sadly, only to see the shocked looks on Team 7's and Kin's faces. There's an Uzumaki clan. said Naruto, not believing that there's actually an Uzumaki clan, making Karen look at him in confusion. Yeah, there was. Don't you know about them? Karen asked, having assumed Naruto would know about their clan, especially with how he was born and raised in Konoha. And no, were they ever brought up in the academy? Naruto asked Satsuki and Sakura, wondering if they were covered in one of the classes that he skipped back when they were still in the academy. No, never once was an Uzumaki clan ever brought up. We didn't even know there was anyone else with the Uzumaki name. Satsuki said, much to Karen's shock that they've never heard of the Uzumaki clan. But the Uzumaki clan and Uzushiogakure was allied with Konoha. They provided Konoha with their fuinjutsu whenever it was needed. The Uzumaki swirl is on the back of the flake jackets Chunin and Jonin wear. Hell, the Shodai Hokage's wife and the grandmother of Tsunade Senju was an Uzumaki. You have to have at least known that, right? Karen said, refusing to believe that they had heard nothing about the Uzumaki clan when the Shodai Hokage's wife was an Uzumaki. Only to see the four were shocked at all this information, much to the redheads' disbelief that they really didn't know anything. You really never heard about our clan? Karen asked, looking at Naruto softly, seeing he was shaking at everything she just said. And no, I never heard anything about them. No one ever told me anything, said Naruto, feeling dizzy at everything he just learned. He's not only from a ninja clan, one that apparently had their own village before they were destroyed. They had been allied with Konoha, and the red swirl on the flak jackets was his clan's symbol. With even the Shodai Hokage having married an Uzumaki, yet he never heard any of it. I have the same swirl on my jackets. Naruto thought, realizing this entire time he's worn his orange jumpsuits, they'd had the Uzumaki swirl on the back and he never even knew it belonged to his clan. The old man never told me, thought Naruto, doubting the Hokage didn't know about the Uzumaki clan, yet never told him anything about it. Making the whiskered Ravenet wonder just what else the Hokages kept from him, now remembering what he said the last time he asked about his parents. Along with what that Kusa Kunoichi said about the Hokage not caring about him, that he was just a tool. A valuable tool, but a tool, nonetheless. The girls meanwhile were just as shocked at this revelation, with Satsuki, Sakura, and even Kin being disgusted, a sentiment that Karen shared. Given that Naruto was deprived the knowledge of his own heritage, something that'd be vital to his identity, growth and development as both a shinobi and a person. To know where he came from, what his clan was known for, what they could do, to understand himself. But it was kept hidden from him. Every Chunin and Jonin walk around with his clan's symbol on their backs, yet he never knew about it, let alone that he had a clan at all. Satsuki thought in anger, thinking of what happened to her own clan. She was at least able to be raised by her clan and know about her heritage, something Naruto had been robbed of. Is this what Orochimaru meant by exposing lies told to Naruto? Did he know there was an Uzumaki clan? He must have. He's a Sannin and originally from Konoha, as well as fought in both the Second and Third Ninja World Wars. He must have known there was an Uzumaki clan. Thought Sakura, not believing something like this was kept hidden, especially from Naruto, who deserved to know more than anyone. This place is supposed to be known for their teamwork and camaraderie, always looking out for each other and protecting their comrades. But this is just cruel, hiding someone's heritage to the point that no one else has even heard of them. Kin thought in disgust. While she's not from a clan herself, Otogakure was filled with plenty of Kekkei Genkai users and clans that were all aware of where they come from and their heritage. Even Kimimaro, who only cared about serving Orochimaru, took the time to learn about the Kagaya clan and better understand his abilities. He might be the only family I have left and he doesn't even know about our clan. What kind of village is this? Thought Karen, angry and disgusted at how Naruto had been kept ignorant of their clan and family, being reminded of her treatment Kusa, where she was only seen as an asset. Before the girls looked at Naruto and saw his expression, the pain, confusion, and betrayal on his face at what's been kept from him. Hey, Kin said, putting a hand on Naruto's shoulder, getting the whiskered Ravenet's attention. I might not be from a ninja clan or anything like that, but I do know how wrong it was for this to be kept hidden from you. There's no excuse for why you weren't told. And maybe it won't mean much, but I'm sorry this is how you have to learn about it. Said Kin with Naruto nodding shakily before he looked at Satsuki and Sakura when they stood next to him. If you want, once we get out of the forest, we can try and find something about the Uzumaki clan. We'll search the entire library if we have to, but we will try and find something about them. Sakura offered, wanting to help her teammate learn about his heritage. I can help, too. My clan's library must have something about the Uzumaki clan in it. We'll search everything it has, and anything involving the Uzumaki clan will be yours. Said Satsuki, knowing the Uchiha clan library had more than just jutsu scrolls in it and would likely have something about the Uzumaki clan. And I'll tell you everything I know about it. There's so much for you to know and I'll explain it all. Karen said, smiling and taking Naruto's hand, intending to tell him everything she knew about the Uzumaki clan, refusing to let him go another day without learning about their family. Naruto looked at the girls in surprise at their offers of help and sympathy, feeling better at their words. Thank you, all of you. It really means a lot. Naruto replied, with the girls nodding and smiling at him, before Kin pulled out her team's Earth Scroll. Oh yeah, here. Since I won't be needing this anymore, you guys will likely need it more than me. Said Kin, with Karen taking out her team's Earth Scroll as well. You can have mine too since it never hurts to have a backup. Karen said, much to Team 7's gratitude. That means we have both the scrolls. We can head to the tower now. Said Sakura, smiling in relief that they can get out of the forest. Naruto, you have the Heaven Scroll? Satsuki asked while looking at the Uzumaki, who grinned and nodded. Yeah, I got it right, Naruto said, reaching into his pouch for their Heaven Scroll, only to frown when he didn't feel it inside. It's gone, said Naruto, grabbing his pouch and looking inside, but didn't see the Heaven Scroll, making Satsuki's and Sakura's eyes widen. Did you drop it? Sakura asked. No, I didn't. It was still in my weapons pouch. I don't. That creepy Kusa Kunoichi with the tongue must have grabbed it. Naruto said, scowling at realizing the Kusa Kunoichi must have swiped it during their fight, with Satsuki and Sakura cursing that they now needed to find another Heaven Scroll. Great. At least we have 2 Earth Scrolls, so that's something at least. Satsuki said, annoyed that they still weren't done. I could help you find another one. I'm a really skilled sensor and could find another team. Offered Karen, wanting to help her newly discovered relative pass the exams. Thanks Karen, that'd be really great. Naruto said, smiling at the redhead, glad for the help and that he could spend more time with her. You could come too Kin, if you want. We could always use more help. Said Naruto, turning to the Oto Kunoichi, surprising her slightly at the offer, having figured she'd need to offer her assistance to go with them. Sure. Why not? I don't really have anything else to do, and even if I can't compete, I'd at least like to see the exams through to the end. Kin replied, making the whiskered Ravenet smile. Then let's get going. We only have 4 days to find another team and get a Heaven Scroll. Said Satsuki before the 5 of them all jumped up to the trees and began moving.